What's up, everybody? Good morning and happy Monday, December 4th. Little Victory Monday coming at you. Good morning. Hopefully, you had a fantastic weekend. If you are a Wisconsin sports fan, you're absolutely probably having a fantastic weekend, and you're probably off to a good start. Maybe a little tired, maybe a little bags under the eyes here this morning, but no doubt about it, if you're a Wisconsin sports fan, you got to be feeling pretty good this week, at least at the beginning of this week, right? Oh man, appreciate you tuning in wherever, however you're tuning in. DK Show up on the air on your radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online, sportstalk1051.com. You got your app, Google and Alexa home devices, and the video stream, which is up and rolling right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. What do we got on that good old docket here this morning? Where do we begin? We got last night's big win. Packers over the Chiefs, 27-19. Going to be hitting that up big time. Going to be hitting that one up all morning long. Recapping that one. Lots to talk about. Where the is there anybody out there still maybe doubting Jordan Love? Anybody out there still doubting Matt LaFleur? Joe Barry off the hot seat right now for Green Bay. What do you think, fans? Start to hit me up with some texts on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line with the text. But plenty to talk about with that game. With the win, the Packers are back to 600. And if the playoffs started today, they would be in it because they are in that 7th seed. They are in that 7th seed, tied up with Minnesota, who's in the 6th seed. Minnesota obviously holds the tiebreaker because of the head-to-head there. But, well, that New Year's Eve game might be pretty darn important coming up there. So we've got, what do we got? 5 games left to go. No, 6 games left to go here. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. No, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got like an hour and a half of sleep. So if I mess up on some words, I apologize. But how do you go to sleep right after that game last night? You can't. So just a couple left at the friendly confines of Lambeau Field here. But you look at the schedule coming up. How do you not feel optimistic about Green Bay's chances to get in the postseason at this point in time? How do you not? Giants, Buccaneers, Carolina. Then they finish up against Minnesota and at home against Chicago. I'd be feeling pretty darn good, I think, right now at this point in time. Huh? But we'll hit it up. We'll talk about it. I wanna know if there's anybody who was not on the Love train, really did not think he was the guy, was not happy with him, didn't believe in him. Are you rolling that back now? Same for LaFleur. And has Joe Barry done enough now for you? You may not like it. It may hurt you to say this. But has Joe Barry done enough now too to, so far at this point in time, secure his job? So we got plenty of football talk coming up all morning long. We're going to hit up some hoops talk because, well, the weekend kind of began with a bang there with Badger basketball picking up a big win on Saturday against Marquette, 75-64 against third-ranked Marquette. Badgers beginning that tough stretch of 3 games, which was against Marquette and then Michigan State and then second-ranked Arizona. But they began that with a bang, hitting that or getting that big-time signature early. Another early signature win because when they beat Virginia and took care of them, Virginia cracked that top 25 there. But Wisconsin hoops, big time win to kick off the weekend on Saturday. So we're going to hit that up. We'll talk a little college hoops there. Speaking of college, Badger football going to the ReliaQuest Bowl, taking on LSU, Tampa, New Year's Day. So big time bowl game there. for the Badgers, formerly known as the Outback Bowl. But yesterday began with a little drama in the college football world with the 4 teams in the college football playoff. Alabama upsetting Georgia over the weekend. They're in as number 4. Washington defeating Oregon Friday night in a very entertaining game. They're in as 2. Michigan is 1. And Texas leapfrogging all the way from 7 up to number 3. Meaning undefeated Florida State out of the college football playoff. A lot of debates, a lot of banter, a lot of back and forth discussion on this one. And I know Sports Talk put that post up on Facebook yesterday. But what do you think? Do you think they got it right? And according to some on that post, the majority of you say, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. But do you think ultimately they got it right? What do you think? Top 4? With Michigan, Washington, Texas, Alabama. Michigan, you're the number 1 team in the country. Now you're favored. Now you get rewarded by playing Alabama in that matchup. Washington and Texas, I feel like, is just going to be a really high-scoring affair. Now, I know a lot of people believe that Florida State deserves to be in, undefeated, conference champ and such. I think, honestly, to me, in my opinion, therefore, that the committee picked was purely based on ratings. It was purely based on entertainment value. I'm sure they had the mindset of, okay, Florida State, yep, they're undefeated. But with the whole quarterback situation, and, they could throw in the strength of schedule argument that's being thrown out there too. But in my opinion, I firmly believe they looked at this from a business standpoint instead of maybe a deserving football standpoint there. They looked at this from a business standpoint and thought, okay, if we put Florida State in here, are we setting up for a blowout potential if they go up against Michigan or such, or Washington or whatever? If they get it because of the unknown at the quarterback position for Florida State. You can say whether that's right or wrong. In my opinion, I feel like that's the decision they made was purely based off a business thing. They didn't want the potential of a blowout, which I think it was clear they thought that was on the table here. And they wanted some close games. They wanted some good quarterbacks, some well-known quarterbacks in this thing. And that's what they went with. Not saying it's right, not saying I agree with it, but I think it's based purely off a ratings and a business standpoint. Because now you've got Michigan versus Alabama. Who ain't going to talk about that matchup? Harbaugh, Saban. That's going to put eyes on the television. Then you got Washington and Texas. Texas back in it. Quinn Ewers. And that offense. Are we going to see a debut of Arch Manning at some point? But, that could be a high-scoring affair. That's what gets everybody excited. So, to me, those 4, clearly a business decision, whether you agree with it or not, in my opinion. But what do you think? You can let us know your opinion via the text line and such. So we'll hit that up. It is a Studs and Duds Monday. So who are your studs and who are your duds? We'll get to that throughout the morning here. We'll hit that up and such. But I know a lot of you are jacked up, pumped up on this Victory Monday. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? Shall we chat a little green and gold after that win against the Chiefs last night? Let's hear what you have to say. I don't have the texting line up. Well, it's always up, but I don't have the window open just in case a lot of you have been texting already here. I didn't want to get distracted and such, but I want to lead things off talking a little football here this morning. Packers taking down the Chiefs 27-19. Got a little sketchy there in the final couple minutes, no doubt about it. I'll tell you right now, though, who my duds are. My duds is Sunday Night Football, Tirico, Collinsworth, Terry McCauley for, in my opinion, going a little overboard on the missed calls by the officials. Were they? Yes, but they pigeonholed it and solely focused on it from the Chiefs standpoint. The non-pass interference on MVS, should that have been called? Yep. And then really focusing on, should there have been a pass interference on the Hail Mary attempt, which might have been one of the first ones I've seen, or very, very, very few, but they really focused on that without barely even touching on the subject about Jonathan Owens. His hit on Patrick Mahomes shouldn't have happened. And then the play for MVS when he was tackled, his forward progress was stopped. That clock should have been running. That clock should have continued. But silence. They touched on the Owens one a little bit, but good Lord, they really focused on that, and really that was all they talked about in the postgame. That was all they talked about in the postgame afterwards. To me, that was that duds. Okay, you're gonna hit that up, which should the MVS one have been called? Absolutely. But if you're gonna hit that up, look at the other ones too that they missed. Fair's fair. So there's my early duds. Oh, that rattled my cage last night, trying to take away from the W last night. For goodness gracious, can't be doing that. But let's get going here. Let's get things going here on the opening drive, on the leadoff here. We're going to talk a little Packers Chiefs. How you feeling about the playoff chances? How you feeling about Jordan Love? How you feeling about Matt LaFleur? How you feeling about Joe Barry? How you feeling about this team overall? All right, start to hit me up with those texts. 715-830-1912. We'll take that first break, and we'll get things going here. Coming up after this quick break. I love it when we've got big time wins like we did last night, because the texting line right now is just a hopping. That makes Victory Mondays just a little bit better when you all get to chime in and send me your thoughts and such. I love it. Let's just jump right into it with some of your responses. We've got earlier on Brandon's mom, B's mom here. Good morning. Hey, I'm on that playoff bus. If there's still room, also got a ticket on that love train. Hudson must be happy with AJ Dillon. Great performance last night. Go Pack, go. Our buddy Mark last night. Where's that bottle of scotch? Hell yeah. Oh, you know it. We got Dustin chimed in. I may have had one or too many beverages last night during the game, but I'm up and going this morning. Go Pack. Okay, this might be the best nickname. I don't know if this is the actual nickname that this texter put in there or if it was a typo, but this might be our new best nickname on here. You were spot on with the Owens late hit and out of bounds post game. Didn't mention that duds for sure from Sawdust Hauler Jesus. Is that right? Because that's a pretty epic nickname there. Josh, I just have to say I was impressed last night. I predicted a loss. Love is looking good. We might be good at quarterback. G-Man, way to go, Pack. I have the Love jersey on now, and Bucky played awesome Saturday. G-Man is on the Love train, and Bucky will win against LSU January 1st. Yes, they got it right. The 4 teams are the best teams for the title this year. All right, let's get it going here. How you feeling about Love? How you feeling about Love? How you feeling about LaFleur? How you feeling about Joe Barry? How you feeling about this team? How are you feeling about the present, the future, the direction? Goody even. Maybe throw him into this conversation, into this equation. You got a ball club now with a 6-6 record. It was looking bad about a month and a half ago. A lot of downtime. It was looking down, and you had people calling for jobs, for guys to be replaced. Where are the players who wanted, or the fans who wanted Sean Clifford to be getting snaps right now, to be playing? Gotta love it right now, baby. How do you not love this right now? If you're a Packers fan, to see these young dudes going out there and just balling out like they don't have a care in the world, because they're just playing football, and they're playing some darn good football, and they have a shot to make the postseason. Will they make a deep run in the postseason? My opinion, probably not. But you hope this is something that just continues to build on, continues to get better, and the future just looks awesome right now. It looks awesome. How do you not be pumped over these last couple of weeks with a win at Detroit on Thanksgiving? And now a win against the Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champs, and Patrick Mahomes, a defense that is top 5 against with the Chiefs defense. Love just looked uber confident last night, didn't he? I mean, that might have been one of the first times all season long or throughout the entire game I'm like, hey, I feel good that we're going to be moving this ball. I know all the talk was, and I was kind of thinking of it too, in that fourth quarter, 10 minutes left, 8 minutes left, whatever it was. And it's like, okay, you got to get a touchdown here. You can't give the ball back to Patrick Mahomes and such. But I'm thinking too is like, Chiefs better be thinking about that too with Jordan Love, with the way the offense was moving the ball over there. I mean, he looks more confident. He looks more poised. He's throwing the ball down the field a whole lot better. Doesn't look to be rattled. He's now the one thing that's probably really standing out when it comes to Love is that C word, the consistency. He's starting to put it together back to back to back games. He's starting to put it all together. And I love the mindset too, where, some of those picks earlier on in the season, especially in the end zone and such, they really haven't kind of derailed him. I mean, that catch from Christian Watson in the end zone, dude, that was a tight throw. Put it in a spot where Christian Watson could utilize his height, make a play. Speaking of which, Christian Watson, that might be another player too. Where are the people at calling out for his job? How many times are we not going to learn about this? Now, I don't know if Christian Watson is going to go on to have a great career, but how many times do we have to go through this where it's like, got to sometimes be a little patient with second-year players or even rookies, right? We got to be a little patient with this stuff. I know patience is a virtue, but and a lot of us don't have it. I don't have it sometimes too. I'll admit that, but goodness gracious, that dude was balling last night too, and hopefully that injury last night isn't too serious with the hamstring. LaFleur didn't have a whole lot to say afterwards, but I think the fact that Watson didn't spend a whole lot of time in the blue medical tent and was still on the sidelines, and apparently he was high-fiving guys after he got out of that tent, and that hopefully it's not too long of a thing. And I don't know, but with a hamstring injury and Christian Watson, that's something that he's obviously dealt with for the last couple of years. Almost kind of reminds me a little bit of Clay Matthews here in the early goings of Clay Matthews' career. But nonetheless, how do you not feel good about the direction of this ball club right now? How do you not? And I know a lot of it is to love, and rightfully so, the way he is playing. The guy just looks like things are starting to slow down a little bit. Like he's starting to understand the defense. And I thought Collinsworth, for as much as I had my gripes, by the way, for all the talk too about Collinsworth over the last couple of years about like how much I know it's like a social media thing, but there's been this thing on social media for like the last year and a half, last couple of years, where that they've kind of talked about like his just loves Patrick Mahomes and everything about Patrick Mahomes. That was pretty evident last night there too. But nonetheless, I thought Collinsworth made a good point too, and something we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. It's starting to see, or it seems like, and it's starting to feel like we're finally seeing a LaFleur style offense. The offense I think that we expected or wanted to see at the beginning of the year, right? This is what we were hoping to see at the beginning of the year. This is what we were expecting to see at the beginning of the year. So not only have we had growth with Love and a lot of these younger players on the offensive side of things, I think you're seeing growth with LaFleur kind of finally getting into a rhythm with a bunch of new guys. We take it for granted, I think, sometimes when we talk about these young guys coming in, first-year guys, second-year guys, and getting acclimated to the game. LaFleur, as a play caller, too, has got to get acclimated to these guys, too. With a brand-new quarterback, it's one thing to have all these meetings and, non-padded practices and that such, but when you actually get into a game, it's a whole different world. And I think LaFleur has done a really good job. He has done a really good job at finding what's working now. We're seeing a lot more misdirection. We're seeing some more creative stuff. Maybe getting into his bag of tricks, but we're starting to see, and we have been seeing these last couple weeks, especially the offense that we wanted to see at the beginning of the year. And we're starting to see this identity of this team. This is what we wanted. And it's putting players in a position to succeed, especially his young quarterback, Jordan Love. And Jordan Love is rewarding him too by having some great play. They're showing confidence in each other. They're showing trust in each other. The coaching staff, LaFleur, is showing trust in his inexperienced offense, and the offense is rewarding him with making some plays. You continue to make some big plays, the more trust you're going to get from your coaching staff, from your play callers. So, growth from Love. I think you're getting growth from LaFleur. Now, what about Joe Barry? Do you give him a little bit of credit? Do you give this defensive unit a little bit of credit? I mean, this is the one thing I will say too, especially starting with that Chargers game, when you've had no Jair and you've had a secondary, your top two corners are a seventh-round rookie and a practice squad player who's been up and down from the practice squad the last year plus. There was a long time that these last couple games, you really haven't heard their names mentioned a whole lot, right? It's because they're not getting, they're doing their job on the outsides. They're doing a really good job. You got to give credit to Valentine and Valentine for holding the fort on the outside there. And Nixon. Nixon, we've talked about him as, he gets a lot of attention as a kick returner. Made the big interception last night. But he has been doing a fantastic job. He was given that nickel role at the beginning of the year, the slot corner, and I think he's been doing a really good job. But you look at those guys being put in there, and, safeties has been kind of all over the place. Jonathan Owens has been playing some good ball as of late. I think you got to give a little credit to Joe Barry. I said it a few weeks ago before that Detroit game that, I felt like it was kind of trending that Joe Barry might have a job still with Green Bay next year, and Packers fans might not like it, but if it continued to go this direction, I feel like his job's safe. And right now, I feel even more confident in that. Whether you like it or not, this unit has been playing better. This unit has been playing better. A little bit more aggressive. I mean, what? Patrick Mahomes was sacked 3 times last night for the first time this year. What did they say on the telecast? Sacks in big-time moments in the red zone, too. Got to give him credit for the players that are kind of on that field. I mean, if you would have said that we're starting Valentine and Ballantine out there and, Jonathan Owens and Rudy Ford and, just the secondary as a whole, if you told me that that was the lineup there and you had to go up against the offense of the Lions, the Chargers offense, and then Kansas City with Mahomes and Kelsey, I'd be like, okay, that's 3 losses. Done a really good job. Got to give the man credit. Got to give that unit credit. Was there issues in the running game stopping the run? Absolutely. But I almost felt like, and I don't know if this was the case, but I almost felt like last night that Green Bay was willing to, on the defensive side, was willing to play a little bit more coverage and not really load up the box for a couple reasons. One, they were playing with a lead, so if Kansas City wanted to drain the clock and, tick, 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 right? If they were willing to, run the football and drain the clock, Green Bay was willing for that. But also, I almost felt like, too, it's like, okay, they didn't want Mahomes to get into a groove and maybe really go after the corners there. And Kelsey, for the love of all, how does Kelsey get open all the time, too? Like, it's like one of those things, and I get it. There was a play, Mahomes is, running and he's scrambling, and then he does a little jump fake, and then, Kelsey's wide open, and they were going off about Mahomes magic, and I'm like, that's not magic. The guy was scrambling. The linebackers came up, and they left Kelsey open. If that's magic, that's like an 8-year-old magic trick box that you get them for Christmas. It ain't Harry Potter magic, for crying out loud. Let's tone it down just a little bit, guys. But I digress. But I felt like they were willing to kind of give up the run a little bit because they didn't want Mahomes kind of going off on that secondary or trying to contain Mahomes a little bit. And I think it's a lot of hand in hand. It's a lot of complementary football. You can maybe get away with doing that if your offense is playing really well, and Green Bay's offense was playing really well last night. And if Kansas City was willing to drain a lot of clock by continuing to run the football, I think Green Bay was willing or was okay with that. And it was big in the first half when they held them out of that red zone. That was big. That was huge. We're starting to see, I think, some good complementary football. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect by any means. But it's a lot better than what it was at the beginning of the year and into October. This team's playing with a lot of confidence right now. Whole lot of confidence. And when you look at this upcoming schedule with the Giants, now you just hope like, okay, don't start to read your headlines, right? That's something LaFleur and his coaching staff's gonna have to preach to this team. And I think he kind of started to do it last night with some of his post game quotes. Kind of throwing out there, this league will humble you really quick. Got to keep it focused. Otherwise, you will be humbled really quick. And he is absolutely right. Don't overlook the Giants. Don't have too big of a head. Don't go in there thinking with this upcoming schedule. Now that you got through Chargers, Detroit, and Kansas City, first of all, if we rewind it, how many of you would have thought Green Bay would have went 3-0 against Chargers, Detroit, and Kansas City? Anybody's raising your hand, you're lying. Okay. Besides G-Man, because he'd have them go 19-0 every single time. But you're lying otherwise. But now Green Bay, I think their biggest concern is with a younger team heading into this thing with this final stretch of games, with the final quarter. Really, I'm getting close to the final quarter here. Yeah, about final quarter. We'll call it the final quarter here. But with these last 5 games coming up here, you're just like, okay, now don't start to read your headlines. Don't go on social media. Don't start to read all the praise. Don't start to read the stuff saying, hey, Packers are a team nobody wants to play right now. Hottest team, one of the hottest teams. Don't start to read that. It'll be hard. We're human. We do it, right? We do it in different scenarios and everyday life situations. It'll be hard, but this is the challenge that LaFleur and his coaching staff is going to have with a younger team now, is to keep them focused. And this is where the player veterans got to step it up too. Guys who have been there before, guys who have, been in a similar situation or maybe have been on really good teams and they get to the postseason and fall. This is where the veterans have to step up too. These the Kenny Clarks, right? Jairs, if you will. Rashad Preston Smiths. This is where those team veterans have to step up. Be like, guys, hey, we're playing good. But one game at a time. Focus on one game. Don't overlook the Giants. Don't overlook Tampa Bay. Hell, don't overlook Carolina. Take care of your business. You haven't won anything yet. You've put yourself in a position now to where you control your destiny. Green Bay controls their destiny. Not anybody else. Not the Rams. Not Seattle. Not Minnesota. Green Bay controls their destiny. They want to get in, they control that. They don't have to rely on anybody else now. And that's what you want to be. That's the position you want to be in. If you want to get into the postseason with a few games left to go, you want to be controlling your own destiny and not scoreboard watching. Let's take a quick break. We'll finish up the first hour. Get back to some more of your thoughts. Hit us up with some texts. 715-830-1912. donate, or support their mission in any way you can, including shopping at the Restore. Your support means everything, and to the families whose lives you're helping transform. Visit cvh4h.org or stop by the Restore at 145 North Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire to learn how you can get involved. Habitat for Humanity, building homes, building hope, and building a brighter future for everyone.
This time of year, big box tool stores start to sell a whole bunch of not tools, from dancing Santas to plastic trees. At Northern Tool and Equipment, we'd rather sell you a 4-horsepower chainsaw fitted with a full chisel chain to cut down your own tree. And we have wood chippers come January, because mulch. We're cutting prices on your favorite brands this holiday season. Save on Milwaukee, Ingersoll Rand, and Metaltech in-store or at northerntool.com.
Who doesn't love cooking up a good burger on the grill? Having a good burger is one of the most satisfying moments in your life. And now we have the perfect burger to put on the grill and create more satisfying moments in your life. It's the Dan Good Burger, available only at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. This burger has bacon, cheese, and ranch seasoning all inside the patty to give you that perfect balance of taste and awesomeness in each bite. So head on over to Hy-Vee in Eau Claire and grab yourself a few Dan Good Burgers and fire up that grill.
Keep your feet warm and dry this winter with the Shoe Doctor in Eau Claire. Only the Shoe Doctor has over 4,500 styles of footwear and personalized fitting for everyone in your family. It's backed by the Shoe Doctor's exclusive 30-day comfort guarantee, so you'll walk away happy. The selection, brands, sizes, widths, service, and prices that fit just right. Come see for yourself at the Shoe Doctor. Easy to find. 2321 Claremont near Fairfax in Eau Claire.
Wendy's Peppermint Frosty and Frosty Cream Cold Brew make the perfect gift for anyone in your life, especially for you. Yeah, this year you're sitting on your own lap and getting yourself what you want. Finally. And now every day this season, unlock 20% off your total when you get any small, medium, or large Frosty in the Wendy's app. So order something from your own wish list this year.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's with app offer and registration. Applies to menu items only. Taxes and fees excluded.
Looking for that perfect gift or stocking stuffer for someone special in your life? Well, it sounds like you need to make a stop at Cabin Coffee in Altoona. Whether you're looking for a gift card to put in someone's stocking or grabbing a bag of their freshly roasted coffee, Cabin Coffee has something for that coffee-loving person in your life. Along with the holidays, the temperatures are also dropping. So head on over to Cabin Coffee and grab yourself a warm beverage this season. Cabin Coffee in Altoona is located in the River Prairie area at 2922 Meadowlark Lane in Altoona.
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Become the king of all sports fans, desired by beautiful women, and rich beyond your dreams. I think. Try it and let's see. The Dan Kasper Show.
Josh with a quick text here. Am I crazy thinking that Wicks might turn out to be the best of this bunch? I love me some Dontavian Wicks too. I also love me some Jaden Reed. That's why I'm really excited with these youngsters. I even like Malik Heath. I know I might be a little partial because he was one of my preseason picks over there, but guy that's he's probably not gonna be a top 2 receiver or anything like that, but comes up with a couple big plays here and there. So, but yeah, Dontavian Wicks. I know Hudson's his favorite still is AJ Dillon, my little guy Hudson, but his next 2 favorite are actually Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks. He's pumped because he finally got a Jaden Reed rookie card over the weekend. So, what we got about 11 minutes to the top here. Keep those texts coming. 715-830-1912. We'll say good morning to, I have to imagine, a rather pumped up, I'll keep the volume down just a little bit, pumped up C-Bomb here this morning. What's up, man?
Good morning, El Capitano. What a Monday morning, huh?
I'm glad I had that turned down there a little bit there, bud. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. You know, after a few man cave lights and watching that whooping that not really a whooping, but what we did last night, it was phenomenal. I think you've hit it on the head. Anybody who thought we were going to go 3-0 over the last 3 games is out of their mind if they say they were. But I'll tell you what, I was hoping we would steal one of those 3 games and to win all 3 of them and to see the improvement week in, week out, week in. This is what, every one of us was complaining about the first 6 weeks of the season. The lack of consistency, the lack of growth, the lack of identity. And I think we're starting to see things come together. And gosh, is this team fun to watch.
It's like Lou Brown said in Major League, right? Things are starting to come together, Pepper. Things are starting to come together.
It's really funny that you mentioned that, Dan, because I'm actually on my way up to New Richmond, and I was thinking, boy, I feel like, Major League, like the beginning of the season, the 2 groundskeepers, man, they are, I can't say the word of what they are, but kind of how we felt after a month of the season, a month and a half, and now things are starting to come together. Things are clicking a little bit. I still have, I have a question I want to ask you in a minute here about your opinion on something with the Packers, but I'll tell you what, man, the defense, and I will eat the crow. I will cut them open and eat them raw. Joe Barry's getting it done, man, and complimentary football, when the offense is holding the ball and scoring. I still am not a huge fan of the scheme, because they let the Chiefs walk down the field every time, and it's just keeping them out of the end zone, but they're doing it. And to hold Patrick Mahomes and that offense down the way they did, they're not the Mahomes offenses of the past, but they're still the Kansas City Chiefs, and they held Travis Kelce under 100 yards, 4 catches for 80. It feels like he had 14 catches, but he only had 4 catches. That defense played great, and to be missing Jair and Campbell and the different players and the weapons that the Packers are doing this without, it's amazing to watch this young team coming together, brother.
I agree, man. I agree. All right, what's the question that you have on your mind?
Okay, the one question I want to know is your opinion and the why, because I always have to know the why. I don't know why, but why, in your opinion, on the rotation with the offensive line? I just don't get it. It's like those guys need to get in the groove too, and it seems like sometimes when they flip that out, our running game suffers from it. And I just wanted to get your take on the rotation at offense and with the offensive line.
What's the weird one for me is right guard. Because John Runyon Jr.'s in there, and then Sean Ryan's in there for a drive, maybe a couple drives, and then John Runyon Jr.'s back in there. I know we've seen in other teams do the left tackle rotations. Even the Chiefs were doing it a little bit last night. I think the weird one for me is the whole right guard one. Like that I don't know if I've off the top of my head if we've seen like a interior offensive line rotation there. It's not even like a 50-50 split, right, C-Bomb? It's like once in a while he's in there. But I would agree that, you'd like to see some consistency with that offensive line, because that also puts a little bit more pressure on a guy like, Elton Jenkins. I know he's an all-pro type of left guard, but, if he's going to have a different left tackle over there all the time, it's a different feel. It's a different communication there. And then, on the right side there too, it puts a little bit more pressure on a guy like Zach Tom and, even Josh Myers, because, it's that whole communication factor over there. It's not ideal by any stretch of the means. And I really, to me, it's clearly obvious that, that they don't view one guy's better than the other, by a wide margin at this point.
Yeah, those are great points, and I'm glad I got to ask you about that. And I just wonder that, my thinking is, yeah, it worked well at home. They did it in Detroit, but the communication, like you talked about, is that going to have an effect on the road when they're playing on the road? Because let's say they get in the playoffs, and right now, if this season, it's in their destiny. They hold their own destiny in their hands. So likely they'll be on the road. Can can the communication with the line flipping out all the time, can that cause an issue? Or do they have specific packages for each configuration of the offensive line? I don't know. It's interesting, but yeah, great morning to listen to your program, Dan. I love a Victory Monday. I can let you go. I appreciate you taking my call, brother. But yeah, I'm curious to hear the takes, and good to hear all the interaction with all the other listeners on a Monday morning, brother.
Absolutely. Appreciate the phone call, C-Bomb. Drive safe out there, okay, bud?
Will do, my brother. Have a great week. Go, Pack, go.
You got it. There you go. There's C-Bomb hopping off. Spencer from Eau Claire. Good to hear from Spencer here. Good morning, Captain. It's been a while since I've been able to text in, but I wanted to say, first off, I really liked your rant about the post-game comments. I'm glad somebody else caught on to that, and I wasn't the only one. I've been very impressed with this team, both offense and defense, the last 3 weeks. These were all very big wins, and I'm confident the playoffs are not out of the question now. I would have never predicted this at the beginning of the season. Boy, how the last couple months have really changed the landscape of an entire season, where it wasn't that long ago where we were like, okay, top 5 pick. Fans kind of wondering, okay, we want to see growth, but, maybe we still want a better draft pick there. And now we're sitting here with 5 to go. We're flipping might be in the playoffs. We're flipping might be in the playoffs right now. And I know there's probably still a handful of fans out there, and you don't have to say if you are one of them, but there are probably a handful of fans out there that'll be like, yeah, great, they'll go to the postseason, but they're not going to do anything over there. So what's the point? I want the higher pick. Come on. I'm gonna tell you right now, this team gets to the postseason. This is eerily similar now. It is getting eerily similar to me to what the Lions were last year. Playing their best football down the stretch. A game away from getting into the postseason last year. If Seattle loses that last game of the regular season and Detroit beats Green Bay like they did, Detroit's in the postseason then. But all the talk in the offseason was Lions. Optimism, young team, all coming together, growing. Dan Campbell even growing as a head coach. Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator, finding something over there. And you look at them, and they're in the hunt for a 1 seed. They're going to win the division. They're going to win the North. They're sitting there, 8-3 record? 9-3 record? Yeah, 9-3 record. But this is reminding me a lot of the Lions last year. Finishing the season strong. They still got 5 more to go here. Finishing this season strong, but the growth with these young players and where that optimism for the next couple of years, even maybe a little bit kind of like the Eagles. I know I threw out this comparison a couple weeks ago, but kind of like the Eagles in Jalen Hurts' first year as a full-time starter. First year as a full-time starter. They squeak into the postseason. They get waxed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. I mean, I think we all knew it going into that one. It's like, hey, good job. Philly gets into that postseason. Congratulations. Your prize, you get to play Tampa Bay. And then what has Philly done since then? They've gone to a Super Bowl the year after. They're the 1 seed currently right now, and I know they got dominated by the 49ers last night, but they're in pretty good shape. And right now, what we're seeing from Green Bay, to me, there's parallels. There's similarities between those two. And if you can't get excited about that, then and you're a Packers fan, I don't know what else to tell you. I really don't. I don't know what to tell you. You've got to be happy. Even if you didn't like Jordan Love, you didn't like the pick. I hated the pick. And if you were at the beginning of the season saying this isn't the guy, got to get a different quarter, how can you still not? You got to be happy with the growth that, you know what? I'm glad I was proven wrong. Take away that anger. Take away that, if you were just dead set on thinking Love wasn't the guy, but right now he's proven that he's a pretty good quarterback, it's okay to say, you know what? I'll take the L. I'll take the L on this. I'm glad now we got a quarterback. I'm glad that, hey, we don't have to go in this draft and try to find the next guy. Tip of the cap, man. The dude's playing well, and he's playing better than what he was in October. There's some more confidence going in there. Maybe things are starting to slow down for him a little bit. Was it perfect last night? No, not by any means. Couple plays here or there, the sack at the end. And before I get cut off here in the last hour, we're talking love. Christian Watson had a great game last night. A.J. Dillon was solid defensively. Let's give it up for the rookie kicker last night. Anders Carlson with the clutch kick. How many of you were like closing your eyes, had your hand or had your head in your hands, maybe peeking through? It's like, God, if he misses this, you're giving Patrick Mahomes a short field in that offense and it's over with. Give it up to Anders Carlson. That last play, that's the one thing where Jordan Love, you can't take a sack. Smart for him not to throw it away to keep the clock running. But you got a rookie kicker coming in who's been a little inconsistent as of late. And, hey, dude, I just made it 10 yards longer for you. And every time, both of his kicks, Tirico saying, yeah, Carlson was struggling, really struggling on this side of the field in pregame warmups. Goes out there and hits both of them. But that 48-yarder at the end, clutch for the rookie. Give it up for Carlson, too. A lot of stuff we pointed out, a lot of thumbs up. Give it up to the rookie kicker, too, for that huge clutch kick at the end. Don't let that get overnoticed. All right. We got to take a quick break. We'll be back with a whole lot more coming up after these words.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. Sports Talk 105.1 with the very latest local news.
Well, good morning. Here's what we're learning today. More coffee in the cup if you stayed after the Packers game, right? A little bit easier to shake it off with a win in the column. Of course, Kasper talking about that this morning. So we'll start in the courts. Good morning. A man who police say killed his neighbor in 2016 is expected to be in Eau Claire County Court today. Shane Helmbrecht was brought back to Eau Claire on Friday, and he's been on the run since September when police say he walked away from a halfway house. He was arrested last month in Mexico. Doctors originally declared Helmbrecht unfit for trial, but that could change after his escape. So far, prosecutors in Eau Claire are not making any formal announcements. We head to Barron County, where Wisconsin's latest bird flu case is once again in our area, with the State Department of Agriculture heading into the weekend with a confirmation of a case of the flu in a commercial flock in Barron County. Over 114,000 birds were destroyed in an effort to contain the flu, and it's the fourth case of bird flu in our area. Department of Ag saying there have been 3 confirmed cases in commercial bird flocks. That's in Trumpelow County as well. Let's go to the political level. If you have a few email addresses and you give certain ones out to certain people, well, we can talk about that at the political level, as some people are outraged about Governor Evers being Warren's spawn. We connect the dots. Attorney General Josh Kaul calls Republican criticism of Governor Tony Evers' use of an alternate state email address manufactured outrage.
The fact that Scott Walker had the same setup during his time as governor and nobody raised an issue about that, and now all of a sudden it's been the focus of attention for several days, I think goes to show that this is not a real issue, but one that Republicans are manufacturing outrage about.
What they're talking about is a conservative media outlet, Wisconsin Right Now, that revealed the existence of an email address under the name of Milwaukee Braves legend Warren Spahn. Evers' office says it's using that for internal communications, and Governor Evers says he doesn't intend to stop using it. And how timely is this if you stayed up late to watch the Packers game? Turns out sleep is important no matter where you live.
The CDC and other health organizations say about a third of Americans are not getting enough sleep.
It's essentially another pandemic that we are experiencing.
Nurse and sleep expert Susan Harris says sleep controls everything in our life.
It controls us physically, emotionally, socially, behaviorally, nutritionally, cognitively, everything you can imagine.
She says sleep is the most underestimated and underutilized health aid in our modern society. When healthy, adults should sleep 7 or more hours every night. I'm Rebecca Hughes.
All it to the people who make the NFL schedule, right? Hey, we're coming up on Christmas, though, and I saw Kasper making his list. He said he's been extra good this year in every way.
Nutritionally, cognitively, everything you can imagine.
For Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Morgan McCarthy.
Starting off the work week with some patchy fog and some cloud cover, and that's going to be the story for today as cloud cover dominates and temperatures climb slightly above average to the mid to upper 30s. Later on tonight, a Clipper-like system moves through, brings a slight chance at some snow showers as lows dip to the upper 20s. Before tomorrow, climbing back to the upper 30s, pretty much a repeat offender of today, before a warm-up heads our way to wrap up the work week. I'm 13 First Alert meteorologist Mike Dandria.
Good morning. It's time to take a look at some farm news on Sports Talk 105.1. Last week, it was announced that President Biden's Investing in America agenda devoted more than $468 million to advance wildfire resilience across the country in 2023. These funds have helped and will continue to help reduce wildfire risk, mitigate impacts, and help rehabilitate burned areas across the country. This is part of the 5-year plan to work with the federal, state, tribal, and local offices and partner together when needed. This also works with the USDA's Forest Service's 10-year wildfire crisis strategy. A portion of this year's wildfire resilience funding will support the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services to increase partnerships with private landowners. The USDA's National Agricultural Statistics Service released October's monthly prices, and the average price received by farmers for corn during October was $4.80 a bushel. That was 27 cents below the September price and $1.19 below October of last year. Soybeans came in at $12.40 a bushel, $1.30 below the September price, and 80 cents below the October 22 price. The average oat price per bushel was at $3.97. That's 15 cents above September, but 50 cents below last October. All hay prices in Wisconsin averaged $168 a ton in October. That was $10 above the average price and $13 above the 2022 price. The alfalfa hay price was at $183 a ton. That's $9 above the previous month. And for milk in Wisconsin, the all milk price for October was at $19.40 per hundredweight. That was 40 cents below last month's price and $5.20 below last October's price. The all milk price for the United States came in October at $21.60 per hundredweight. That's $2.20 higher than Wisconsin's price and 60 cents higher than last month's U.S. price. And Wisconsin, you're only 3 weeks away from Christmas, which means we have to start planning our Christmas feast. You may not find Who hash or the Who's roast beef, but there are other options. The most popular across the country is turkey, followed by beef, and then ham, pork, and lamb. That's a look at some of your farm news on Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Kristen Smith.
Tax refund advance loans at Jackson Hewitt starting December 11th. Early refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Crank it up. Are you ready to take? Get up. He's on his way. He's our man. The man, the myth, the legend. That's Dan. And now, the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, here we go. Second hour on this Victory Monday. Victory Monday, December 4th. Appreciate you tuning in. However, wherever you may be tuning in from, I got to say, this is probably the most positive, most excited, most enthusiasm we've had on a Monday morning here in a while. And it feels awesome. It feels great. Keep it coming. Keep the positive vibes coming, baby. All right? Keep them coming. I love this. I absolutely love this. Rayman Mike, biggest factor last night's Packers win is the game plan that the Packers had going into the game. They had long, methodical drives. They kept the ball out of Mahomes' hands. They ran the ball on passing downs and passing the ball on running downs. Nothing they did last night was predictable, and that's why they won. Great game to watch, except for the volume in the television. Somebody texted in, shout out to Uncle Scott on Victory Monday. Go Pack, go. Yeah, all right. I don't know, Big Worm, When was the last time both Kelsey brothers lost? I have no idea. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of optimism. James on our video stream too, saying that nobody saw last night coming. Packers are officially a team on the rise, still young and still need to improve, but wow, just wow. Jordan Love, Field Yates from the Mothership ESPN just posted this on the X/Twitter a little bit ago. His last 3 games, all Packer wins. Week 11, 27 of 40, 67.5% completion percentage, 322 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Week 12, 22 of 32, 68.8% completion percentage, 268, 3 touchdowns, no picks. And then last night, 25 of 36, 69.4%, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. For all of you math aficionados out there, that would be 8 touchdown passes and no picks. But as Field Yates said, he has been excellent of late and has grown so much this season. You know, another person/player that I would throw into this equation that at the beginning of the year, you're kind of wondering, all right, is he going to be around? Is his career in Green Bay going to be done? Is he going to be elsewhere? Is A.J. Dillon. Now, is A.J. Dillon going out there and putting up 100 yards on the ground or $120 or anything like that? No, he's not. But being thrusted into this kind of lead back role, and I shouldn't say kind of, he is a lead back because of the Aaron Jones injuries. Last night, 18 attempts, 73 yards, 4.1. There was a few big-time runs from him, too. I mean, that sweet pass or that sweet catch he had on the sideline, he juked out a guy. And I know the guy got hurt on that play. But A.J. Dillon right now, is he, kind of like, all right, he might actually get a new contract now with Green Bay to stick around. I don't think he is a guy that could be your numero uno bell cow guy. But for being in the position that he has been put in right now, I think he's playing better as of late here too. A little bit better. You look at the numbers, and are they eye-popping? No. 521 yards on the ground, 3.5 yards per carry. You'd like to see that get to his career numbers, which was 4.1. But maybe playing a little bit better for A.J. Dillon. A lot of guys are growing. So, Surveyor saying biggest factor, J Love. I've told everyone to jump on the Love train for some time, and I hope everyone agrees. What a dog. C-Bomb, big worm. I am no Swiftie, but let's be real. Travis Kelce never loses anymore. I was actually, okay, first of all, I'm not into the whole, I don't give a rip if she was there or not. I think the coverage gets overblown. Thankfully, Sunday Night Football only showed her once on there. Come on now. Green Bay's got their own. We got an Olympian, for crying out loud, okay? Simone Biles. Let's start to give a little bit more attention to Simone Biles, especially when you do a promo for the Olympics and she's there, and then you come back and you show T Swift on there. Get real. Come on, son. Sunday Night Football bugged me last night, the whole programming part of it. But anyways, let's do some sports nuggets of the day, brought to you by Ansay Associates. 1943 baseball commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis. See, I think lack of sleep's catching up to me now. Baseball commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis announced that any club was free to employ African-American players. 1964, Major League Baseball established a free agent draft that would take effect in 1965. What else do we got here? We got 1977, the NFL's 5,000th game was played. Same day, same year. Tony Dorsett rushed for 206 yards against the Eagles. He became only the third rookie to rush for more than 200 yards in a game. 1987, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was held to only 7 points in a game, establishing an NBA record of 787 straight games with double-digit points. Wow. Remember this day? I remember as a 11-year-old watching it on ESPN. I think it was probably when I was getting ready for school. But 1997, the NBA suspended Latrell Sprewell for 1 year for choking and threatening his coach, PJ Carlissimo. John Elway, 97, surpassed 3,000 yards for the season. It was his 12th consecutive season to pass for more than 3,000 yards. Same year again, 97, Barry Sanders set an NFL record when he rushed for over 100 yards in 12 consecutive games. Those are just some of your sports nuggets of the morning, of the day. All right, we'll get back to some Packers chat coming up here, but keep these texts coming because I flipping love the energy right now. I love it. Keep them coming. And don't forget, we got studs and duds as well, so keep those coming. College football playoff. Did they get it right? That's the debate out there. According to some of you who chimed in on the Sports Talk post yesterday, that was up there. Majority of you saying, no, they didn't. Now, Friday, when we made our picks, I wanted Texas in. I thought my picks were I thought Oregon was going to get in. I picked them to beat Washington, so I thought they were going to get in. Got that wrong. But it was the winner of that game was going to get a spot. Michigan got in. I thought Georgia was going to beat Alabama. And then I actually picked Louisville to beat Florida State, and that was going to propel Florida or Texas in. But Florida State won. Alabama won. Washington won. A lot of discussion leading up to the selection, which was yesterday before kickoff. And no Georgia and no Florida State. Alabama jumping all the way to number 4 to get in. Texas moving up 4 spots themselves from 7 to 3. They got in. And a lot of people looking at why was FSU, Florida State not in it. That's where a lot of people have maybe their angst or frustration or question marks surrounding that. And I get it. You know, I get the frustration in that. But to me, this was straight up a business decision. This was straight up a business decision here. And I'm not totally surprised by it. I'm totally not surprised by what the College Football Playoff Committee did. Because you could throw in the strength of schedule argument for Florida State, which I'm sure a lot of people are, and maybe the committee is too. But let's be real. If their starting quarterback is in it, they're probably in it. Because I feel like, personally, my opinion, I feel like the committee looked at this and like, okay, if we put Florida State in this, if we put them at number 3 or number 4, what are the odds that they might get blown out? And part of me kind of wonder, too, if they would have just annihilated Louisville. If they would have annihilated Louisville, maybe they get in. But the fact that it was close for a long time, a little bit of a low-scoring thing, I kind of wonder, too, if that was the indicator, like, hey, we're concerned a little bit about a blowout. And the last thing we want is on the stage of our, Final Four is a blowout game for one team. That's not going to help ratings. That's not going to help, business. And even leading up to it, there's going to be some be like, oh, yeah, but what if they had that player? What if they had their starting quarterback? And everybody probably just would assume that Michigan would have wiped the floor with them or Washington would have put up too many points and they wouldn't have been able to get in a shootout. To me, this was strictly a business decision. Strictly a business decision. Whether you agree with it or not, and there was a comparison I saw a lot on social media about, with Florida State being out of it because of their quarterback situation. And a lot of people were kind of saying, well, looking forward to the next time that an NFL team loses its starting quarterback and they get taken out of the postseason because of that. And people were throwing out like the Eagles comparison and, with Nick Foles leading the way and such. Funny, haha, sort of thing. But let's be real, it's a couple different scenarios. Literally in the NFL, you win, you get into the postseason, where this one is determined by votes, by people, by a committee. And it was straight up a business decision. Alabama versus Michigan, as much as people are annoyed by Alabama or tired of Alabama or even tired a little bit of Harbaugh in Michigan, that's going to get viewers. That's going to draw the attention. That's going to draw talk. Harbaugh, Saban, Harbaugh, Saban. It's going to be talked about up until we get to the game. And then you got Washington and Texas. Is Texas back? Hook 'em horns. Quinn Ewers. Arch Manning's, the backup. But you're talking about already, wow, explosion on offense. That might be a high-scoring game. To me, it was straight up a business decision, not a football decision. It wasn't a decision made like, hey, since you're undefeated, you won your conference, you won that, you're in. If it was a football decision, FSU is probably in. But this was straight up money, ratings, and all that. And the thing is, too, I don't know if this was part of their thinking, but if there was any doubters out there left that whether the college football playoff should be expanded, this was almost a way for the committee to say, hey, see, this is why we want expansion, or this is why we wanted expansion. If there was any doubters out there, all this talk would have been mute. It was just another example that I don't know if that was, I don't think it was intentional, but let's be real. That was also sent to a message to some of the doubters out there saying, see, this is what we've been saying for how long? This is what we've been saying for how long? So, all right, let's take a quick break. We'll get back to more football talk. We got hoops. We got a big Badger win over the weekend, too. We'll hit that up. Coming up next.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
A staple of Eau Claire since 1949, Ray's Place on Water Street has been a local favorite for many in the Chippewa Valley for decades. From their homemade hot beef and ham sandwiches to their famous stew, Ray's Place is the go-to place for great food and a warm atmosphere that feels like you're right at home. And don't forget to try a little of their famous mustard on your sandwich as well. Plus, they have trivia every Wednesday night starting at 7 p.m. So experience one of the finer things Eau Claire has to offer. The next time you're hungry for a home-cooked meal, Ray's Place on Water Street is your ticket.
Wendy's Peppermint Frosty and Frosty Cream Cold Brew make the perfect gift for anyone in your life, especially for you. Yeah, this year you're sitting on your own lap and getting yourself what you want. Finally. And now every day this season, unlock 20% off your total when you get any small, medium, or large Frosty in the Wendy's app. So order something from your own wish list this year.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's with app offer and registration. Applies to menu items only. Taxes and fees excluded.
Join us and other Brewers fans for a fantastic spring training trip of a lifetime in beautiful Arizona. 6 nights, 3 Brewers games, 2 days of sightseeing, and much, much more. Plan your vacation now. Stay at the Crown Plaza Phoenix Chandler Golf Resort with Uber vouchers for rides between Phoenix airports and the resort. There's a welcome reception, daily breakfasts at the resort, 3 Brewers spring training games, professional guide with motor coach transportation to Sedona and Tucson, hosted by Arizona Baseball Tour staff. There's a souvenir t-shirt and 1 complimentary bucket of range balls per person at the resort golf course driving range. It will be an exciting, fun-filled excursion with memories for a lifetime for everyone. The Brewers Spring Training Trip to beautiful Arizona. Don't miss it. For more information, get to this station's website and begin your vacation today.
If Culligan isn't treating your home's water, you likely have water problems all around you, like hard-to-clean chalky residue on your shower, faucets, and bath, stains around your sink drains, spots on your dishes and glassware, plus dull, dried-out hair and skin, and problems you don't see, like scaly buildup in the water heater and pipes. But have no fear, you're in the clear with Culligan Products and Service. For all your residential and commercial water filtration needs,
visit CulliganH2O.com for your local Culligan water dealer.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. From fighting wildfires with air support, helping civilians in flooded neighborhoods, to delivering food and supplies to those who have lost everything, the Army National Guard always responds when disaster strikes, The Army National Guard also trains to be ever vigilant against threats, foreign and domestic. They protect our skies with missile defense weaponry. They secure our information, communications, and infrastructure with cybersecurity. And they protect us against chemical, biological, and radiological hazards with the civilian support team. The Army National Guard also stands ready to deploy and provide support for conflicts or humanitarian missions abroad. Join the Army National Guard and be there to respond, protect, and support your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Maybe you missed parts of the Dan Kasper Show because of the clown that lives in the sewer.
Radio will do.
Don't worry, you can get highlights of the show on the Man Cave Podcast, available on your favorite podcasting platforms.
Surveyor Sam with a fun facts, but Jordan Love needs to average 227 passing yards for the rest of the season to hit 400 passing yards. If Love were to do that, he would already have more single-season passing yards than any Chicago Bears quarterback ever. Suck it, Chicago. We got another franchise quarterback. Sean from Eau Claire. Come on, Dan. Most Packer fans would rather have the Swifties on our side than the Twisties. Hey, dude, don't diminish what Simone Biles is. One of the best Olympians of all time, for crying out loud. And no, I would not rather have Swifty. I don't have time to look up the defenses we faced the last few weeks, but how good have they actually been? Chiefs and Chargers are not known for defenses. Lions are the only good defense out of three. Sean, I think you probably should have taken some time to look that up. No offense, but you probably should have taken some time to look that up. The Chiefs are a better defense than the Lions. The Chiefs have been a top 5 defense all season long. Top 5 in yards allowed. The only defenses better than them: Cleveland, Baltimore, Dallas. One of the top 5s in sacks across the entire league. It hasn't been the Chiefs' offense this year. The reason they have been winning a lot of games, sir, has been because of their defense. The Packers just beat a really good defensive team against the Chiefs. Have they historically been known for that the last few years? No. But this year, sir, that's a top 5 defense. That Chiefs defense has been absolutely balling out. And statistically and numbers-wise, they're better than what the Lions have been this year. Facts are facts. The Packers offense beat a couple of good defensive teams this year. That's the case. So, hate to burst the bubble, but they beat a really good defensive team last night. A top 5 defense overall. Just saying. Does that mean that they can? I don't know. But you got to give credit to where credit's due. They beat a really solid defensive unit over last night. We'll take a really quick phone call this morning. Good morning. Who we chatting with?
Good morning.
Oh, he's back.
I'm sorry I had to call back in. I apologize.
Go for it, man.
I'll tell you what. So I just wanted to chime in a bit on the texter called in or texted in about the defenses and not facing good defenses. I'll tell you what, man, the Lions and the Chiefs both are top 10 defenses right now. Chiefs are in the top 5 for giving up the least amount of yards in the league, and Green Bay, to their credit, they are finding the holes in these defenses and exploiting them. So I've actually heard that argument a few times, and it kind of ticks me off because it's like these defenses don't just lay down when Green Bay comes to town. Green Bay is making adjustments and they're attacking these defenses. So even the Chargers, who haven't been what they were in the past, they've got a heck of a pass rush, and Green Bay was able to exploit the way they were rushing. And I couldn't disagree with that argument more. I think they've faced good defenses, but Matt LaFleur has put together the game plans with this young team to beat it.
Mm-hmm. I just feel like, if the argument's going to be out there that they haven't played anybody good or they haven't played any good defenses, it's just that's an argument you're looking not to give any credit to Jordan Love or Matt LaFleur or this team in general. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, what you can't. I'm sorry. The Chiefs. In fact, they were talking about it on the pregame yesterday. How about the Chiefs defense ranks higher than their offense now, and that we should be talking about this Chiefs defense. They're top 5. They're one of the best in the league. They're right there on the heels of the Cleveland Browns, and Green Bay moved the ball up and down the field on them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's kind of, I don't want to say lazy. Let's go back to the Chargers game. I'll say the Chargers, we did get given that game a little bit. The Chargers kind of gave it away.
Yep.
But I'll never apologize for a win in the NFL. So, I think I just disagree with that comment. And, maybe they had a reason for that or they got other things to talk about. But I think defenses give Green Bay what they can give, and Green Bay's exploited the weaknesses in those defenses.
Mm-hmm. I agree. All right, C-Bomb, get back to work, man.
Right on, my brother. You have a great day, and go Pack Go.
You got it. There you go. There's C-Bomb chiming in there for a little bit. Rayman, Mike, I couldn't agree with you more about the college football scenario. My only gripe is that the regular season doesn't mean anything anymore. Florida State beat everyone on their schedule in a Power 5 conference, beating teams that have been pretty good in previous years like Clemson and LSU. I also feel like it's college football taking another jab at Jim Harbaugh. Did you, Raymond, Mike, did you by chance or anybody at that point see the reaction video? Like when Michigan found out they were playing Alabama, it was like I don't know. It was like, oh yeah, great, awesome, and then you start to do a little bit of clapping after that. It was like, oh great, we're the 1 seed, and now we got Alabama coming in here. So it was like, yay! But yeah, to go back to that whole thing, I honestly feel like it was straight up business ratings decision. And I feel like they thought, they being the committee, thought if we put Florida State in there, if we put Florida State in that college football playoff, we're worried it's going to be a blowout, whether they play Michigan or whether they play Washington. We feel like it's going to be a blowout, and we don't want that. We don't want to see that. Ratings, the enthusiasm heading into it, because there was going to be talks on the networks, on the shows, all across the board. The whole what if Florida State had their quarterback? What if Florida State was healthier? Would they have a shot to go? They don't want to have the what if conversation. They want to have all the pageantry and the hype and the enthusiasm heading into this game. And I honestly feel like they felt that wasn't going to be the case with Florida State. This was not a football decision. This was a straight up business. Let's pipe this thing up. Texas is back, big-time program. This is an excuse for us to put them back in there. Alabama is always a draw, as much as maybe a lot of us get tired of it and annoyed by it. But now you got the whole Harbaugh versus Saban matchup, and Saban potentially going for, 8 championships now? It's got a little bit more attention to it. It's got a little bit more excitement surrounding it. And now the Badgers, they've got LSU going up in the ReliaQuest Bowl. But today's going to be a big day too, because with the transfer portal opening up for college football, today is the official day. So maybe we'll see some more Luke Fickell bat signals out there on the Twitter or /X or whatever. So speaking of Badgers, switching over a little bit to hoops, because the weekend began with a big-time win for the Badger men's basketball team over Marquette on Saturday. We had been talking about, everybody's been talking about leading up to this 3-game stretch for the Badger basketball team: Marquette, Michigan State, and then Arizona. Marquette 3. Michigan State now unranked, but they had a brutal schedule to open up with. They always do that. And then Arizona ranked number 2. It's like, that, be happy maybe if Wisconsin gets one of those. Maybe one of those. Well, they got one of them already. Taking down Marquette. Wisconsin basketball's kind of had Marquette's number the last couple of years. But that is a huge, huge win for Badger basketball. Huge win. And we've been talking all morning about the Packers' growth and the youngsters and all that. But, man, how do you not get excited for a win like that? I don't know if they're going to beat Michigan State or Arizona, but you got, guys like A.J. Storr, the youngster transfer guy coming in. Max Klesmit had a great game, 21 points for him on there too. This Badger team, I think, is going to be a lot of fun to watch this year. I don't know if they'll be a deep postseason run team or a deep, tournament team in their Elite Eight or anything like that. But I like the makeup of this team. I like these youngsters that are in it with Storr and Blackwell. Now, if you're going to get some consistency from Stephen Kroll and, maybe even a Max, and if Connor can get a little bit healthier with that back situation, I think this is going to be a fun team to watch. And they're going to be a team, I think, when it comes to Big Ten opponents, when we get to really fully into the Big Ten schedule, it's going to be a typical Wisconsin team that I think a lot of Big Ten teams are not going to want to play, that they're not going to want to face. And when you look at the rankings now, and we'll get the latest ones coming out later today, but Purdue losing to Northwestern. Purdue was the number 1 team, and they lose to Northwestern. Marquette, 3, losing to Wisconsin. Arizona's probably going to be the new number 1 team now. So Wisconsin will be going up against the number 1 team in the country. And that's actually Arizona's next game is Wisconsin. You look at, Arizona's got a kind of a difficult schedule coming up here too. So Arizona just beat Michigan State a couple weeks ago. Now they got Wisconsin. And then right after Wisconsin, a week after that, is a game against Purdue. Number 23, Alabama, and then Florida Atlantic, who's currently ranked 13th in the country. But I'll be curious to see if Wisconsin, I would imagine they're going to get some votes, and I don't know if they'll crack the top 25 because I'm looking at the latest ones right now, or like the previous votes, and they didn't get any votes. Michigan State's got 57 on there. Yeah, Wisconsin did. I would have to imagine Wisconsin's going to get some votes now. I would have to imagine that's going to be the case. But an early signature win, resume building win for this basketball team that'll pay dividends down the line, I believe. But they got off to a fantastic start with this tough 3-game stretch here. And hopefully, I would love it if they can steal another one of these coming up here. I mean, they somehow beat Arizona. Whew. That'd be a huge rise into the rankings now. So, all right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with Justice Cleveland coming up in just a few minutes.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
The Wisconsin deer gun season may be in the books, but we've got another big date on the calendar for hunters. Christmas. And Christmas shopping for that hunter in your life just got a whole lot easier for you because all you have to do is head to Tilden Gun or visit tildengun.com. Whether you're looking for a new deer rifle or shotgun for turkey hunting, Tilden Gun has the best and biggest selection in the Chippewa Valley. And if you're looking for something in particular, they will work with you to help you find just what you're looking for. And the best part, it's all at the best prices in the Chippewa Valley. So this holiday season, when you're doing that Christmas shopping for that hunter in your life, think about supporting local businesses too, because Tilden Gun is locally owned and family operated. While that hunter in your life may not have gotten that deer this year, you can help cheer them up with a Christmas gift they will be talking about for years to come. Just visit Tilden Gun today at 12427 90th Avenue in Chippewa Falls and visit tildengun.com to start your shopping. Have a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. What's something that's practical yet something that's really cool and something you really want for Christmas this year? I knew it. It's a new floor in your home. So instead of adding something you don't need on your Christmas list this year, just ask Santa for that one thing that you really want and need this year. It's a brand new floor from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. From top of the line carpets to gorgeous luxury vinyl planks, whatever style of flooring you're looking for, Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire has just that. And let me let you in on a little secret. My sources have told me that the big guy himself, Santa, uses Carpet City Flooring Center for his own floors. The workshop, his home, you name it. Carpet City Flooring Center is very popular in the North Pole. So go on over to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Take a look around at all the options and styles they have and let Santa's elves, the staff at Carpet City Flooring Center, help you select the best floor you want to add on your Christmas wish list this year. They'll even set you up with an install date and everything. Make your Christmas a little bit more magical this year with a new floor from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire.
Join us and other Brewers fans for a fantastic spring training trip of a lifetime in beautiful Arizona. 6 nights, 3 Brewers games, 2 days of sightseeing, and much, much more. Plan your vacation now. Stay at the Crown Plaza Phoenix Chandler Golf Resort with Uber vouchers for rides between Phoenix airports and the resort. There's a welcome reception, daily breakfasts at the resort, 3 Brewers spring training games, professional guide with motor coach transportation to Sedona and Tucson, hosted by Arizona baseball tour staff. There's a souvenir t-shirt and 1 complimentary bucket of range balls per person at the resort golf course driving range. It will be an exciting, fun-filled excursion with memories for a lifetime for everyone. The Brewers Spring Training Trip to beautiful Arizona. Don't miss it. For more information, get to this station's website and begin your vacation today.
This time of year, big box tool stores start to sell a whole bunch of not tools, from dancing Santas to plastic trees. At Northern Tool and Equipment, we'd rather sell you a 4-horsepower chainsaw fitted with a full chisel chain to cut down your own tree. And we have wood chippers come January, because mulch. We're cutting prices on your favorite brands this holiday season. Save on Milwaukee, Ingersoll Rand, and Metal Tech in-store or at northerntool.com.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
There aren't many people as sports smart as he is, so he tries to use tiny words so people like me can easily follow along.
That doesn't make sense.
The Dan Kasper Show.
All year, but much like his team, he has grown a lot too. Put together his best offensive game this year. Yes, it was better than Chicago in the Detroit game. Only thing I would tweak, though, is a little too conservative with that last sack Love took, but that is just me nitpicking. Packers going to win out and end 11-6. Playoffs are not ready for this team. We got a little optimism there.
I'd like to hear that.
I like that optimism there. So we got JC and the EC, Justice Cleveland, sports director extraordinaire, joining us this morning. Sean, I got to respond about your defensive take. If the defenses the Packers have faced are that good, then Joe Barry is a good coordinator. How high do the Packers rank? And nobody thinks the Packers defense is that good. I do agree the Packers have a lot of players on the rise. I think LaFleur has removed himself from the hot seat, and unfortunately, Joe Barry also. Go, and like always, the Bears and Vikings suck. I don't know how that's a defensive take when I respond to a text there, JC, but some people just It is what it is.
You stated facts.
Mm-hmm.
And then
yeah.
You got.
I'm not a Swiftie either, so apparently people don't like that. Are you a Swiftie, JC?
I have no problem with Taylor Swift. I think she's very talented. Very talented. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't.
Why can't we just be happy that Joe Barry and the Packers are playing better?
I just can't believe somebody would like rag on Simone Biles.
Yeah,
like the best of her generation, if not the greatest ever.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
you can because she had the twisties. Yeah, that's a bad take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is.
Buddy the Elf.
It is.
That's a bad take.
Just watched that movie yesterday too.
Go have some syrup with your cereal.
I love it. You're just fired up now. Let's go.
I don't know. I just like there's a section of sports fans in Wisconsin that aren't going to be happy unless the team like literally is hoisting a Super Bowl trophy, and then they'll still find something to be mad about.
You know, here's my thing. Like, shouldn't you be happy that even if you don't like the coaches, if you don't like the quarterback, shouldn't you be happy that they're actually doing the job better?
Right. It's been we've talked about this. I came into this season with no real expectations of this team.
Mm-hmm.
And if they went 3-13, they went or 3-14, 17 game schedule. But yeah, like if they struggled, I would have said, okay, that it's expected.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you've watched this team build and grow in front of you has been, I thought, a lot of fun. I don't know. I guess there's people that I can accept a loss when I watch a game like, earlier in the season. They were some ugly games, but you saw growth, and the growth happened. If they had completely played, let's say, like they played against the Raiders the whole season, yeah, then I can see it. But this is a team that gave you glimpses early on, struggled there for a while, and is now in position to make the playoffs. Yeah. This is not. I don't think this was to me. This wasn't expected. No. And if they still might not make the playoffs, and if they don't make the playoffs, I won't be
right.
I'm not going to be disappointed because I think it's just one of those teams that's very young, obviously the youngest in the league. So there's a lot to watch and grow and a lot of potential there. But I think the way they played last night, that's your coming out party for this Packers team.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is you're not going to surprise anybody anymore
No.
because you beat the Super Bowl champs.
Yep.
Then you are definitely flying up on the top of that radar.
And before that, it was the Lions team that everybody loves,
right?
In their house on a short week, Thanksgiving too. And the Lions, to have those 2 wins in a row, that's you're not going to catch anybody by surprise anymore.
I just, you can the whole defensive thing. I don't think there's not the 85 Bears out there. These teams that like Kansas City, you watch them blitz and blitz and blitz like they did against the Eagles and stuff, and it worked. The Packers found a way to have their offense, a young offense, go against that defense that is. Let Steve Spagnuolo, one of the best coordinators in the league, and Matt LaFleur was able to move the chess pieces in the right spot.
Yeah.
So, you can't take that away from the Packers. And I mean, right now, depending on how they finish up, I mean, LaFleur's got to be in the running for Coach of the Year.
I was kind of wondering that too.
He's got to be.
I mean, given everything out right now, why isn't his name being potentially mentioned?
6-6 with the youngest team in the NFL.
I love the little nugget too that the offense was actually younger than the Packers' average age. Right. Did you hear that nugget last night? Wow, okay.
An offensive line that imploded in the beginning of the season. A defense that has now built themselves up to being a staunch defense, I'd say. A defense you can go out there and kind of hang your hat on lately. I mean, almost most of the season. I hate, for as much as there was a lot of the Joe Barry hate early on, they really have solidified as a defense. Yes, they'll give up a big play every once in a while, but last 6 weeks, I think they've been solid.
Yeah,
real solid. So it's fun to watch. It really is.
Well, we got all in caps Joe Barry for president.
I'm not saying that. And there's not things that they still can't build. I'm optimistic about this team, but I still look at it as a young team that could. Who knows what happens in the last few weeks? But the schedule works out perfectly for them now to make a run to the playoffs.
A couple more texts here. See. I said it in the first hour. This is actually one of the Monday mornings where there's been a lot of enthusiasm and optimism, which I love it. One texter, though, saying you can't satisfy everybody. Some people are just happier being miserable.
I agree with that.
Another texter saying, come on, everybody. Let's give credit to where credit's due. They are playing some really good football, whether you like Joe Barry, Matt LaFleur, or Jordan Love or not. Give credit to where credit's due. The Packers have beaten some really good teams. And yes, to that texter, they have beaten some really good defenses as well. So
yeah, I mean, this is a stretch that just shows you the potential. It really, and
Mhm.
I think we're seeing the wrinkles in that offense come out more, and what we were expecting early in the year. They just weren't able to. They weren't able to execute. And I think it was just a lot of just everybody getting on the right page.
yeah, yep. Another texter. This is from Greg saying, "Funny how a texter calls you out for being defensive, yet he's doing the defensive thing by responding." Okay, we're not going to get into a little match like that there.
Playground,
right? Yeah. I did. So I was kind of. I'm glad you're able to come in here, because I think the last time we were talking to you was a few weeks ago about this team. It might have been after. Was it after the Minnesota game, maybe?
I think so. Yeah.
No, because you were in Minnesota. You were at.
I was
game.
at that one. Yep.
So did you? Were you?
Yeah,
in?
I was here.
Okay. Okay. So they lose that one. Sky's kind of falling. The optimism's a little bit down, and now looking at this team 6-6, as you mentioned, could be in the play. But the thing is, they control their destiny too.
Right.
That's the thing, is like they don't have to hope for the Rams to lose a game here or there, or Minnesota or Seattle. This is a young team, an inexperienced team that's growing, but now they control their destiny.
Yeah.
With this schedule coming up here, with these 5 games,
it's huge. I mean, who would have thought that Minnesota Packers game on New Year's Eve, was going to be something? I think we talked about would they flex it out of it or try to do something to get it out of that Sunday night position, just because.
Yeah,
both teams were when we talked about the last Minnesota game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, potential for a playoff spot being on the line there, and then of course the Bears in that last game.
Yep,
it's as long as this team can keep its head up, and not get too full of themselves, avoid injuries. Which, I mean, when you watch Christian Watson pull up there at the end of the game, that's scary to see.
Yeah,
thankfully you have such great depth right now at wide receiver, but injuries are, that's been a tough thing. But that's the other thing you could talk about LaFleur. How many injuries has this team overcome to be where they are? I mean, we thought this guy was when Rasul Douglas got traded.
Yeah.
That was okay, this, some of these guys are maybe giving up. That was the talk. It's is he losing the locker room?
Mm-hmm.
You look at it now, and that Douglas trade almost looks like it was perfect timing to get somebody who, again, I have nothing against Rasul Douglas, and I think he's just an emotional guy. But if things were to go wrong, I think he wasn't going to be able to handle it that well.
Right.
And they're like, okay, we got to go get him somewhere where he's going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the lock. And hey, right now it looks like a brilliant move. And Brian Gutekunst is looking.
Well, that's the other name. Like I kind of casually mentioned the first hour, but Matt LaFleur has been doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Joe Barry's been doing a good job. Jordan Love has been doing a really good job. Goody, do we got to give that guy a little bit of credit for what he's built right now?
A ton, especially because of the restrictions with the cat. I mean, kind of those are his own self-inflicted there with Rodgers. But I mean, you got to give him a ton of credit because he's had a plan and he stuck with it.
Yep.
And now, I mean, again, it's a small sample size for Jordan Love, but everything that has happened looks justified right now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What's been the biggest thing that you've noticed, maybe from a few weeks ago to where he's at now with Jordan Love? Like, if you had to pinpoint, or maybe the biggest one, like the difference, what is it that's really stood out to you about Jordan Love?
I think to me, it's the game slowing down. He seems calm no matter what's going, and very Mahomes-like, where if there's 7 guys coming on him, he's still looking to throw that ball. He took the sack late in the game.
Yep.
But that's also more of a, let's just keep control of the ball.
Yep.
Don't do anything stupid with it.
And you kind of wonder if that grows. Great, he didn't throw the ball away to stop the clock, right?
Right.
So there's a positive there. The other negative, though, is like you just gave your rookie kicker 10 yards,
right,
extra distance. But
Fred
you hope
Carlson too. I mean, he looked good last night.
Yeah, he did.
After, I mean, there's been talk, obviously rumbling after his struggle, especially with extra points.
That's where I said, give that man his due, because that was a clutch kick.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, I was nervous as all get out when he was lining up. Because Tirico, every kick too, before that, he's like, yeah, Anders Carlson pregame really struggled on this side of the field. And it's like, jeez, thanks, Tirico.
I still just wish they would have gotten the fair catch rule kick.
Right.
That's my favorite rule. I wanted to see him try the 65-yarder from a free kick, but because he has a leg to do it. But yeah, I mean, it has been, for Jordan Love, you can see the game slowing down.
Yeah.
The touchdown pass that he made in the crowd. I mean,
Yep.
And the throws he's making, it's almost, people are like, oh, he's overshooting these guys. But a lot of times I feel like he's putting that ball in a place where only that person can make the play.
Mm-hmm.
If they have to reach up, make it, a spectacular catch, so be it. But he's putting the ball, he's not throwing it as much into traffic anymore either. I mean, the decision making, I think you can tell that after, I don't know when it clicked, but it looks like it's clicking now with him a lot more than it was early in the season. We saw the glimpses early in the season, but it's really like all of a sudden he's turned a page and looks like a guy who's been out there for a few years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, this honestly is probably one of the most excited and optimistic Packers fans have been, I think, in all season long.
Yeah.
Maybe besides after Chicago, but that was after one game, opening week and that. But at this point in time, there's more optimism than downism.
Pessimism.
Yeah, there we go.
There is a word for I thought. Yeah, I think so, and I think that it's warranted because he really has been playing at a great level, and
I think LaFleur has also grown with him. We've been talking about these young guys growing together, but you kind of have to wonder too. And I'm not trying to to take away any blame or that too, but you kind of wonder too, has LaFleur really grown? Like he understands what he has now. Like there's one thing to be in practice and, it's not padded. Nobody's, it's different to actually be in a game. Right. And to be calling a game in a headset and just but it feels like LaFleur's like, all right, I know what I got. I'm comfortable. We're all growing together with this thing. It looks like the offense that I think we wanted and expected to see at the beginning of the year, the LaFleur offense over there. And it just looks like there's a lot of trust between play caller and quarterback and these players right now.
Oh, I agree. I think the first 4 or 5 weeks in the NFL, I was just thinking about this when I was driving. It's like, it almost should be like pool play. Like, because you don't know anything until probably after week 5. And it seems like, look at how many of the teams that struggled. Look at the Vikings. Look at the Packers. 2 examples of teams that struggled early on and now have turned it on and are battling for playoff spots. So, yeah, I think this team took its lumps. It definitely took its lumps, but the way they're clicking right now, the way they got that offense going in with your 5 deep at wide receiver like they are, and he's not just keying on one guy, which is almost maybe better that they don't have like a Devontae Adams because you don't have that. You really don't have a safety blanket. You have guys who are I think Romeo would probably be his maybe safety blanket on a lot of those, but I also got to say it's like not having Aaron Jones there. You lose that real veteran presence that would have been the safety, blanket as well, security blanket, whatever you want to say about it. Yeah. Not having him, I think, made them also be like, okay, we got to expand things down. And, credit to AJ Dillon. What we were kind of bemoaning him early in the season.
He's been playing better. We were talking about that in the first, playing better a little bit here as of late. So.
He looks like what you want from a one, especially because he's not called to carry the load.
Right.
But he's been getting clutch yards when they need it, which was kind of the hit on him for a long time, is that he couldn't get those 1 or 2 yard gains when he needed it. But now I think having the fact that he's playing as well as he is creates that great balance with the passing game. And you're able to do that 1-2 punch.
And do you think it's something as simple too with the defensive side of things that it's just now finally getting to being complementary football on both sides?
Yeah.
Where, okay, offense is starting to click, starting to figure it out. Defense. Now, I mean, last night, yes, I honestly feel like the defensive game plan last night kind of was adjusted a little bit because of what the Packers offense was able to do.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, they go down and they score right away. The offense is rolling. They've got more confidence in the offense. And I honestly feel like that affects the defensive game planning. And I could be completely off on this, but I felt like last night, Joe Barry, the defense, said, okay, we're going to live by allowing a little bit of more of the running, Isaiah having success running the football. But we know what we also have on the outsides of Carrington Valentine and Corey Ballantine, and all that. We're willing to have Kansas City just drain that clock.
Yeah.
Drain that clock. We know our offense is playing better, but we're willing if Kansas City wants to drain that clock, we'll let them. And when they get to that red zone, that's when we step it up. And they had the 3 sacks on Patrick Mahomes. I think the first time all season Patrick Mahomes has been sacked 3 times. I honestly feel like that was part of the game plan last night. Is like, we're willing, kind of like I'll go back to remember watching this. Was it the 30 for 30 Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells?
Yeah.
Where Bill Belichick, was it that they allowed like Jim Kelly to throw it all over the place, but they wanted to stop Thurman Thompson or vice versa or something like that. They picked one thing to stop and
Right.
lit up the stat sheet on one side, but they still won. They were willing to,
give up
live with
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was last night's game plan because they're like, yeah, we know he doesn't have all the receivers that, that are lighting up stat sheet, but it's still Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
It's still Travis Kelce. If they want to drain that clock by running the football, we're willing to let them do that.
Right. Yeah. And, it's like, what is it? Death by a thousand paper cuts. It's
Yeah.
like they let them run, and they got over 100 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked impressive on the ground, but yeah, like you said, it's draining the clock, and the Packers offense kept being able to counter strike when they did. So yeah, I think the game plan looked great. I mean, I'll be honest, I still thought that Kansas City was probably going to go down and score on that last drive.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like it was just one of those games, and
I felt really nervous on that Hail Mary. I'm not going to
yeah,
lie.
oh
to you.
no, me too. I'm like, somebody's going to probably come down with this. But until that, and that's how what a great game is. Until that final whistle, that game was in doubt until the clocks hit.
Yeah.
000, 00, whatever you want to say on it. And yeah, I mean, it was a fun game to watch. And even if they would have, here's the thing, like even if Kansas City comes back and drives and wins that game, there would have been so much to take out of that game.
That was crossing my mind last night, thinking like, okay, if they lose this, what's the conversation going to be like today?
Right.
Would there be optimism? Would there be a moral victory sense?
Right.
Sort of thing. I thought that because there was a real thought in my mind, like I was kind of like you. I'm like, I'm not going to be surprised if they pull this thing out.
I mean, it's the Chiefs. It's a team that is best team of this decade.
Yeah.
We'll go that way. I mean, the last, how many, 6 to 7 years, you can go back. They're the best team.
Yep.
And for them to be having a chance to drive for the win, yeah, you could see it there right away. It was like, okay, this could happen. This could be a tough ending, but for them to get the win just is huge. It's just huge for the Packers right now.
I agree. So, all right, shot clock right now. We'll have a little bit more here with JC. I know I touched on that Badger hoops, but want to get to that here again, and then we'll get your thoughts on the college football playoff committee because that's another big topic.
Yes,
out there as well. So, all right, we got 2 in. We got 1 more to go. Keep the optimism, not the pessimism coming. Right.
Right.
We're optimistic on this Victory Monday. We'll be back after these news updates.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. Sports Talk 105.1 with the very latest local news.
Well, good morning. Here's what we're learning today. More coffee in the cup if you stayed after the Packers game, right? It's a little bit easier to shake it off with a win in the column. Of course, Kasper talking about that this morning. So we'll start in the courts. Good morning. A man who police say killed his neighbor in 2016 is expected to be in Eau Claire County Court today. Shane Helmbrecht was brought back to Eau Claire on Friday, and he's been on the run since September when police say he walked away from a halfway house. He was arrested last month in Mexico. Doctors originally declared Helmbrecht unfit for trial, but that could change after escape. So far, prosecutors in Eau Claire are not making any formal announcements. We head to Barron County, where Wisconsin's latest bird flu case is once again in our area, with the State Department of Agriculture heading into the weekend with a confirmation of a case of the flu in a commercial flock in Barron County. Over 114,000 birds were destroyed in an effort to contain the flu, and it's the 4th case of bird flu in our area. Department of Ag saying there have been 3 confirmed cases in commercial bird flocks. That's in Trumpelow County as well. Let's go to the political level. If you have a few email addresses and you give certain ones out to certain people, well, we can talk about that at the political level, as some people are outraged about Governor Evers being Warren Spahn. We connect the dots. Attorney General Josh Call calls Republican criticism of Governor Tony Evers' use of an alternate state email address manufactured outrage.
The fact that Scott Walker had the same setup during his time as governor and nobody raised an issue about that, and now all of a sudden it's been the focus of attention for several days, I think goes to show that this is not a real issue, but one that Republicans are manufacturing outrage about.
What they're talking about is a conservative media outlet, Wisconsin Right Now, that revealed the existence of an email address under the name of Milwaukee Braves legend Warren Spahn. Evers' office says it's using that for internal communications, and Governor Evers says he doesn't intend to stop using it. And how timely is this if you stayed up late to watch the Packers game? Turns out sleep is important no matter where you live.
The CDC and other health organizations say about a third of Americans are not getting enough sleep.
It's essentially another pandemic that we are experiencing.
Nurse and sleep expert Susan Harris says sleep controls everything in our life.
It controls us physically, emotionally, socially, behaviorally, nutritionally, cognitively, everything you can imagine.
She says sleep is the most underestimated and underutilized health aid in our modern society. When healthy, adults should sleep 7 or more hours every night. I'm Rebecca Hughes.
All it to the people who make the NFL schedule, right? Hey, we're coming up on Christmas, though, and I saw Kasper making his list. He said he's been extra good this year in every way.
Nutritionally, cognitively, everything you can imagine.
For Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Morgan McCarthy.
Starting off the work week with some patchy fog and some cloud cover, and that's going to be the story for today as cloud cover dominates and temperatures climb slightly above average to the mid to upper 30s. Later on tonight, a clipper-like system moves through, brings a slight chance at some snow showers as lows dip to the upper 20s. Before tomorrow, climbing back to the upper 30s, pretty much a repeat offender of today, before a warm-up heads our way to wrap up the work week. I'm 13 First Alert meteorologist Mike Dandria.
Tax refund advance loans at Jackson Hewitt starting December 11th. Early refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Let me ask you something. Did you name your firstborn after a football player?
Hell yeah.
Did you spend your honeymoon going to a football game?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Do you spend most of your free time hanging out in your man cave? If you answered yes to all the above, then you, my friend, are a serious sports fan just like Dan.
Yes.
This is exactly where you belong. Sports talking and BSing is what we do best.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
So rise and grind, people, because the Dan Kasper Show is on the air.
You serious, Clark?
Right now.
Showtime. Woo!
Flying on by. It's the final hour on this Victory Monday. Appreciate you all tuning in. Appreciate all the texts coming in. Keep them coming. 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line this morning. We only got about 25 minutes left with JC Nisi, so it's going to be coming fast and furious here because we got a lot to catch up on. First, I'm going to give you a curveball. What are your thoughts on the Jackson Cheerio contract with the Brewers? It sounds like it's inked. He passed his physical.
You're rolling the dice.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's kind of what the Braves have been doing with a lot of their young talent, just wrapping them. But a lot of those guys at least had been on the major league roster at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if they are that high on him, they think that this is the next Ryan Braun. You know, that's what I kind of look back on, because Braun came up and you wouldn't even have known he played in the minor leagues. Like, he was that good right away, other than his defense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a risk. And if it, the Brewers with long-term contracts haven't fared too well, but I say go for it, because if you're that impressed, he's got to impress multiple people. It's not like one scout's like, yeah, sign this guy. This is organizational wise. They're looking at this guy as a generational talent.
Yeah,
if they're willing to do this.
And do you think this is potentially a change of philosophy within the Brewers organization? Like, hey, maybe we're going to kind of go that Braves route. That's a comparison that's being thrown out there a lot. But like you said, like Ronald Acuna Jr. got a big contract right away, but he played a year in the majors and that. Is this because, one of the biggest gripes for Brewers fans is not spending money, the ownership. And you mentioned the long-term, Christian Yelich got that deal after he was an MVP in that, got it a little bit later on in his career. Could you see this potentially as a change in philosophy for the Brewers now? It's like, hey, we're just going to lock up a lot of our young guys. Like Brandon mentioned the other day, he'd love to see Contreras be the next one. A 25-year-old get that. I threw out a comparison. What if Sal Frelick goes out there and has a great year? Could he be another guy that's
Garrett Mitchell?
Yeah, those type of guys. Is that a change of philosophy? Maybe kind of going down to Milwaukee.
I think so. I think in a way, it is a way to save money. In you're playing the short game now for the long game. Because if Cheerio blows up and is a generational talent, well, you've got it locked up for 8 years.
Yeah.
So,
and they've done similar stuff with like Freddie and Aaron Ashby a little bit there, but we saw them at the major league level
exactly.
For a
So
bit.
that's where it is. It's you're investing now for the long term savings. And if you're a minor leaguer, and they're saying, hey, we'll give you $80 million?
Yeah.
They'll give you $10 million a year, and there's no guarantee that you even have a. Sure.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
And his incentives can go up to, I think they said 164.
Right. So it's there.
That's like doubling the contract.
So I think if you can do that, I think that you avoid arbitration.
Yep.
And that's where with the Burns situation, you would have been able to do that with Corbin Burns.
Yep.
Now you wouldn't have after his first year,
right? Yeah,
or second year. Like that would have been. But yeah, so I mean, I think it's a different strategy, and again, it's a strategy that could easily blow up if he comes up and doesn't do anything as a pro,
right?
But I think it's one of those where I think when you're a small market team, doesn't spend a lot of money. This is you've got to think of creative ways to do it,
right? Yep,
and this might be that way.
Wade Miley also sounds like the Brewers are close to bringing him back, according to John Heyman over there too. So, yep, exactly.
You lose Woodruff, now you're I mean, now you got a kind of a new big three. You'd love to see them maybe go out
and you hope Ashby can kind of come back and live up to that potential that's out there for him. Because we didn't get to see it last year after he signed that contract.
No, I mean, again, a guy who's been around the game his whole life knows what he's doing, and you have the hope that guys have come off this injury better,
right?
And you really have to work on your mechanics because you want to avoid this. Whatever was causing that, usually you work on, and a lot of guys have come back at least stronger. But it's still scary. A lot of money is invested with the guy who didn't play for a year because of injury.
Exactly. Hoops wise, Badgers. I mean, we've been talking about this 3-game stretch coming up here for a long time.
Yep.
And they got it off with a bang. They own Marquette's number the last couple of years, it seems like. I don't know if there's something to it, but big win. Another signature win. I'd kind of count the Virginia one because when they played Virginia, they just cracked the top 25 and they took care of business against Virginia too.
Yeah.
This is a team, and I know you always kind of use the Badger basketball comparison a lot there, but AJ Storer, I've loved that. I was really intrigued with that guy since, the beginning of the season.
Right.
And now you got, Blackwell coming off the bench, freshman, contributing some big time minutes. Stephen Kroll's been logging some good time minutes over in the last few games here too. This is such an intriguing team for me, but that was such a huge win against Marquette too, that obviously it's going to be a signature win on the resume, depending on where they're at the end of the season here. But confidence-wise, too, for this team.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about a coach that has been up and down in terms of
a lot of reaction from you mentioned Greg Gard's name.
Yeah.
There's always a lot of reaction, good or bad.
That was a hell of a win for his team on Saturday.
Greg Gard has had a lot of great wins in his career. I know there's been teams that have been disappointing, but that one, it was one of those games where I didn't get to see the score until like halftime.
Yeah.
And I looked, I'm like, holy cow, they're up 10 or 9 or whatever it was at half. And I'm like, they're probably going to pull this one off. It's the Badgers. It could be a second half where they don't score for 7 minutes or something. But I think this team, as much as they had their growing pains last year, have kind of come together. And Crowell's the guy who I think it kind of almost lives and dies by that team. When he's playing well, that opens up so much more of that floor.
Yep.
And I think that's what we've seen. He's been playing very solid basketball, where I think last year it looked like at times he wasn't where he needed to be.
Right.
Now I think maybe because he had to beef up.
Yep.
And it might have taken a while for him to adjust to what his body was. But I mean, I look at that team right now, and again, I will put it the same way I put it for every Badger team. They look like they can beat any team. There could be a night where they come back and they could lose to any team, but it bodes well. And when we really get into Big Ten season, that'll be fun. I mean, you got Michigan State this week.
Yeah.
And was it Tech or Arizona?
Arizona.
Yeah, I mean,
might be the new number 1 team now.
Yeah.
Because Purdue lost to Northwestern. So,
it's hard pressed to say that they're going to win both of them. They win both of them, then
you might as well just
you
lock it up to top 10.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, you can do that, but you can if you win one of them and have, let's say you beat, I think Michigan State's the game that obviously you want to get that victory because it's conference.
Yep.
But I mean, if you can win both of these, my goodness, what a start!
If you win just one more after that now too, and you take 2 out of 3 on this, that's a huge win, I think, for the Badgers early in the season.
No discounting Marquette.
No,
that's a good team.
Very good team.
And that's I think it's just maybe it's the contrasting of styles. And the Badgers, just the way they can slow things down. They're not as slow as they used to be. This isn't Dick Bennett era, where it's just, they're going to score 40 points and get the win.
Yep.
But they still, compared to modern day basketball, the Badgers defense can really slow down teams that try to run and gun. And,
Yep.
and that's what they did. And they were clutch. They didn't have those spans where they just couldn't score.
And I think too, it's, not to keep beating this, but like a guy like AJ Stowe who's 6'7", on a
Right.
wing, and you got Blackwell who's a bigger guard, 6'4", kind of coming off that bench too. They got some athletic dudes, big athletic dudes.
The depth's
over
there now.
Yeah.
And then that takes I think Tyler Wall and Chucky Hepburn last year, I think there was too much pressure on those guys to have to,
because we wanted Tyler Wall to be the guy, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to be the guy now.
No, and I think he's better in that role. He's a good floor general.
Yeah.
But I don't think he needs to be the scorer.
Right.
And when you have 5, 6 guys now, 7 guys that can come in and score double digits, and you have that depth, and you're able to get that bench play in there and not lose, like I think they did the last couple of years, where it's like as soon as you went to that bench, it looked like things just dropped off.
Yep.
Now it's
Exactly.
there. So I mean, give credit to Greg Gard for the team that he's built, and a team that this day and age in college basketball, sky's the limit. Again, it's early, and we've seen Badger teams peak a little too early. But the fact that they were competitive in games, remember last year with all those close losses against ranked opponents, this is where a team learns. And they learned a lot from last year, and now I think it's coming to fruition on the court.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk some college football before I let you go here now.
All right.
So we know the Badgers are going up against LSU
in the ReliaQuest Bowl.
ReliaQuest Bowl.
Do you remember do you know the names?
It was the Outback Bowl before.
Do you know where it was before that?
Was it the Hall of Fame?
Yes. And I gotta believe, I don't know if this is true, but my theory has to be the Badgers have to be the only team that's probably played in that bowl as all 3.
I remember them in the Outback Bowl how many times?
Yeah. Oh, that was like their go-to if they weren't getting into like a big game.
Like a Rose Bowl or something like that. It was like the Outback Bowl.
Yep.
It seemed like that too.
Because that's where Barry came back and won against Auburn.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
this is their 5th appearance in that bowl, I believe.
I think, even that seems small.
Yeah, because they played, it might be 6, because they played Georgia twice in it. So it was Auburn, Georgia twice, Tennessee, and Duke. So yeah, this is the 6th time.
Oh boy, the Hall of Famer G-Man. What is that?
Bringing you breakfast?
Look at that.
He's out. He's like Santa Claus. So G-Man was here.
G-Man was here.
It's like
It's like Santa. He sneaks in and then sneaks out without saying a word.
All I know is you have some good smelling food over there.
I didn't leave any cookies or milk though.
He heard us for talking about the Badgers,
right?
But no, so this will be I think their 6th time playing in this bowl. They played Duke one year.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. I went back and looked at it because I was like the ReliaQuest Bowl. I wish it could be like bring back the Hall of Fame, like give it a better name.
I know.
Like it just sounds like, and it's a New Year's Day game.
Yeah.
So it's like
the first one on New Year's Day. I think that kicks it off.
So at least they're not playing on like December 27th or something like that. So that just tells you how much the Badgers travel.
Yep. Yeah, I think it was. It might have been because every Thursday we talked to Joe Grabowski, former Badger offensive lineman, Cabin Cobb, and I think it was. Oh no, he mentioned that his first bowl game was the Copper Bowl.
Oh, okay.
The first one that he went down to. But I thought he said something about the Outback Bowl too. But
I feel like because the Capital One Bowl used to be played also at Raymond James, so they've played at Raymond James Stadium a bunch. Like so, it's almost like a home game for. And I think if you're like the ReliaQuest, you've seen how much the Badgers have traveled, and as soon as you see them as a eligible team, and a team that's actually playing decent now.
I got to imagine too, maybe some Badger fans are a little bit happier because it seemed like Music City Bowl was the popular pick, in the predictions and all that in Nashville, which wouldn't have been
nothing's not bad about Nashville.
No,
I tell you that, but
and you kind of wonder now. It's like okay, a little bit warmer down south, maybe a little bit more fans, and probably already a lot of Badger fans in Florida right now. So.
And again, being a New Year's Day game, that's awesome. So. Good things for the Badgers coming, and like you said, the transfer portal opening
today.
Up.
Yep. So
see who comes. We'll see who goes.
Well, they got a linebacker. Sounds like already who was in with Syracuse coming over, a big time linebacker. He's going to be transferring over. I saw that on Twitter yesterday too. But everything will be officially official.
It's such a weird world.
Yeah,
we're living in now.
So the big topic, though, the Final Four. I am a believer that this was straight up business decision with these 4. I know there's a lot of upset people that, Florida State in there. And To me, this wasn't a football decision. It was straight up business. What's going to get the ratings? I feel like the committee were nervous about the possibility of a blowout with Florida State going up against Michigan or even Washington.
Right.
Because they don't have their top quarterback in there. They didn't want that. Because all the talk leading into it, I got to imagine all the networks would be, well, what if they had? What if they had?
Right.
And they don't want the what if conversation. And now you look at Texas back with that high-powered offense setting up against Washington, a lot of points.
Right.
And then
I don't think either of those teams
winning
the national title.
No. And then Alabama, Michigan, Harbaugh, Saban. I mean, it's a business decision in terms of you want all the hype and pageantry leading up to it.
Right.
Whereas if Florida State would have been in there wouldn't have been a lot of hype and pageantry, let's be honest.
Right.
Because there would have been they don't have their guy. They don't have their starting quarterback. So to me, I know there's a lot of people upset about it. I feel like this was just a straight up business decision. And I don't know if this was part of it. I don't think it was, but it's also kind of funny to think that if there was any doubter still about expanding the playoff.
Oh, this was like,
perfect.
Yeah.
This is like the committee's way of saying, this is why we've always wanted it to be expanded the last few years.
I mean, if we go 8, what is it, going to 8, right?
Yeah.
12.
I think it's 12. It's 12, yeah.
Well, even if you went to 8,
yeah.
I mean, it would have been, look at the teams that aren't in there. And again, you have Florida State, Georgia, Ohio State, and Oregon.
Yeah.
That would have been, I mean, you have 8 in there. That's a great playoff setup right there.
Yep.
So it's so stupid that we're in 2023 and we're still talking about a committee picking 4 teams to battle for a national title.
Yep.
It is just ridiculous that it took them this long. I think that I saw a clip with like Mike Leach talking, it was like 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about how like every time that people would put scenarios to expand it, the NCAA would come back with, oh, no, it takes too. It could have been done years ago. I mean, it should have been done years ago. It shouldn't have taken until 2023 because they had that option, didn't they? In like 20 or something like that. They could have, but they're like, no, we need a couple more years to.
Yeah.
What do you need to explore?
Yeah.
It's those bowl games that they know it's
money.
Good. Yeah. So it was. You just attach a bowl to there are how many bowls now?
We were talking about that the other day. That's like, you look at it, it's all. You hate to say it, but it is all money.
Yeah,
it really is. And yes, some of those teams benefit from it, extra practices, extra game, and all that. And I understand that, but boy, when you start taking money though potentially out of pockets, that affects everything.
But it's gonna bring in more money,
right? That's the thing too.
These games that aren't, some of these bowl games that wouldn't have been really that big, the ratings. You have like say like Missouri and Michigan. If we're going to top 12, or it would be Oklahoma. So you'd have Oklahoma, Michigan. Maybe they'd probably get a bye. But either way, let's say like that's going to bring in, because it's a playoff game. I don't understand why they don't think that that's going to diminish it.
Right?
No, it's going to make more eyes are going to be on these games.
So second tier bowls are. You're exactly right. They're going to get more airtime.
Right.
They're gonna the advertising is going to raise in price. Because more people, it's like, okay, that spot that was now $5,000 is going to be $15,000 or whatever because it's a playoff game. That's where I don't understand that either. That logic where there was like, oh, it's going to affect us. How? Like, where?
Yeah. Did you not look over at? You have the biggest money-making sporting event in the United States. Collegiately, it's the NCAA men's tournament, basketball tournament.
Yeah.
How do you not look at that and be like, there's probably a way we can do this for football and make a ton of money?
Yeah.
It's just so much politics involved. And that's the problem with, I think college football faces it the most.
Yeah.
It's just the amount of politicking that comes from boosters, from advertisers and all this stuff.
Yep.
It's going to work.
Yeah.
Yes, there'll be a 13th team that'll probably get left out. But you know what? When you at least have a bigger sample size, it doesn't look as bad.
Right.
It's like obviously there's teams that get left out of this.
We talk about 68 teams in there, and we're still talking about those 4 teams. Because what's a segment that they do? The first 4 out, the first 4 or last 4 in, and then they're complaining about who didn't make it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how much you expand it, you're still going to have. It's a talking point, though. It's still going to generate that buzz.
It's going to make people talk.
Yeah.
This makes people talk, but I think it's more if you have more teams in, it's going to be more positive. Whereas we're always talking about how the system is so bad.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't have been like this now. The fact that it was so archaic even 20 years ago, like we weren't deciding a championship on the field until when was it like officially like they
Oh
started?
gosh, yeah, because I mean it was
we were still like in our youth, it was still
Yeah.
the polls.
Yeah.
You know, we waited until the next day for them to vote,
Mhm.
and usually you knew who was going to win it,
Right.
but then sometimes you had co-titles.
Yep.
And it's like that was happening in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like
Not
it
that
wasn't
long
that
ago.
long ago that we were. That's
No.
how we were deciding a national title. So
Yeah.
it just, you know, people always talk about baseball taking a long time to grow. Well, college football is at a snail's pace compared to even baseball. At this point.
Yeah. And I feel like too that was part of, you know, just not only because Florida State lost their starter and does their talent go down. And this is me from a personal viewpoint too. I don't like watching bad quarterback play.
Right.
Especially when it comes to college football. Like I feel like there's only a few really good when you look at the entire landscape, there's a lot of college teams, but maybe just a few very good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And when it gets to that stage, me personally, I want to see some good quarterback play too.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's, you know, were they probably afraid, like say Michigan, Florida State, you
Mhm.
get the exact same game you just had with Michigan
And Iowa. Yeah. Yep. And then now you got Quinn Ewers with Texas. But could we see Arch Manning on the sidelines? You know, because that's going to be a talking point.
Yeah.
You know, you got Michael Penix Jr.
Right.
with
who's been
Washington.
Yeah. Highlights every week of him
Mhm.
being a Heisman hopeful.
Because who, you know, when they announced those 4 teams, who were the pictures next to them? It's quarterbacks.
Yeah. And they know, obviously, the committee knows that's what, you know, is the big thing. I mean, what did I watch? I watched like Iowa State versus Kansas State over the
Mhm.
holiday weekend. And it's like, oh, there was some not so great quarterback play in that. And when in a college football game, it really, I feel
Yeah.
like it sticks out. If it's,
It does.
Yeah.
It
Compared to
does.
maybe even the pros where you can hide it a little bit with the defense of the other side and stuff. But, oh, yeah.
And I don't know if you saw the same thing like on Twitter /X or whatever, but after that came down, you saw a lot of like people saying, well, you know, can't wait for the example they kept using was, you know, when Philly lost Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
And that, well, they should have been a 6 seed, you know, or knocked out of the playoffs, or can't wait till the next NFL team that loses their starting quarterback gets knocked out of the playoffs.
Jeff Hostetler.
Yeah,
Phil
right.
Simms got, like something.
The difference to me, though, is clearly NFL, you can win and get in. Whereas college, you're still reliant on
a
people
committee.
voting
Yeah,
to get you
exactly.
in.
It's a completely, like, you earned your way in,
Mhm.
but now like the committee says that you didn't earn, like somebody,
Yep.
you're like Philly.
Right.
They went 10-2. Sorry, you just lost badly to the 49ers. We're not allowing you
Yep.
to play in the playoffs.
Right.
Like it would just be like something like just your personal, like an opinion shouldn't be what's making a playoff.
Well, and I don't know if they thought of this too, but it wasn't that long ago too where we saw Philly and the 49ers playing an NFC championship game and the 49ers didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
How entertaining was that game?
Right, exactly.
You know,
I even go back to let's go back to when the Packers played in the NFC against the Bears, and the Bears had, I can't even remember the guy's name that they had to bring in for Jay Cutler.
Oh,
he had like
it was Collins, but he didn't go to Collins, and then it was
somebody out there.
Shane Matthews.
No,
it wasn't Shane
No,
Matthews?
it
Okay.
wasn't. Yeah, but either way, but like it was still an entertaining game, and that game went down to the wire. Like, it's just, you know, you can even say like, well, the NCAA tournament's decided by a committee. It's like, yeah, but you also have automatic bids
Mhm.
for conference qualifiers.
Yep.
So there are teams that are what's it, half the field?
Yeah.
It's basically decided by those automatic qualifiers. So
Mhm.
you're at least teams have already earned that spot. So
Caleb Haney.
Caleb Haney, there you go. In the long love Bears quarterbacks, it's
Yep.
hard to Peter Tom Willis's of the world.
Good old Caleb. Because I think wasn't Todd Collins the backup?
I think so.
But they went to did Todd play? Did Todd play a little bit in that game? Then they went to Caleb. I gotta look this up now
Yeah,
because
that
it's
was,
bothering me here a little bit. Yeah, I got to see some stats here. But
Haney played good in that game too, if I remember.
Yeah.
Like he actually gave him a chance.
except for the pick 6 to Big BJ
BJ
Raji.
Raji.
So Jay Cutler. Okay, we got to get to like the third quarter here. Todd Collins did play for a little bit. Yep. Then it was like, okay, this isn't working, so they were desperate.
You're 48 years old. We're gonna move on.
Oh yeah. All right.
Memories.
Good times.
Yes.
Good times.
Great
Hey,
oldies.
You know what? Green Bay had to go on a little bit of run at the end of that year to get into. And who was the team that they beat in the final week to get in?
Bears.
Where? At Lambeau.
Oh, look at that. It's
Oh,
all coming together.
You never know, right?
I didn't even realize that's like they got the Monday night doubleheader. And they're like the B game, unfortunately, in that. But
yeah,
I think that's only on. Is it on ABC? Is it probably on ABC here?
Yeah,
I think they could probably opt to take locally that game, which is good for them because as much as I like it, I hate games that are just on streaming because there's a lot of fans, especially the older ilk, that don't know what to do. Like because Peacock will have those 2 exclusive games.
The Chargers and the Bills might be a good game for playoff implications,
or even like the prime games.
Yep,
it's hard because a lot of my parents or who I think of was like they're not totally into the streaming thing yet.
You gotta eye it up so you get that free 30-day prime trial.
Right. Yeah, that's what I did earlier in the year.
That's what I did too. Yeah. So. All right, JC, we got to let you go, man, but we appreciate you always hopping in, buddy. So
no problem.
Big thanks. And it's actually good to talk about some good football for once.
Yeah. Positives.
Hey, what if Dallas
is that your other coach of the year candidate?
Oh, Mike McCarthy's finally getting some love out there a little bit.
Prescott's been playing great.
Yeah.
He really has the last.
What if it came down to McCarthy and LaFleur?
Let's do it.
Coach of the year. Oh, God, I would be in heaven. I was a Mike McCarthy backer probably until the last straw.
Right.
So,
I was too.
Yeah.
Yep. I never really gave up on the guy.
Dude, Ray, I got 2 minutes. So before you go, not to bring him back up, but given with everything that's going on with the Jets and Alan Lazard being healthy and active, Randall Cobb not playing, Billy Turner's not playing well, and Nathaniel Hackett not able to generate any sort of offense, and you still got Breece Hall and Wilson. You'd think you'd be able to do something with those talented players. Does this kind of give another feather in the cap for Brian Gutekunst?
Oh, definitely. I don't think he probably ever thought it was going to go as well. I don't think he was wishing bad luck on the Jets, but I don't think he ever thought there'd be the contrast right now of how bad the Jets have played compared to how well his team is playing right now. There's probably a middle ground, the Venn diagram of where, and somehow first play of the season, it completely changed.
Yeah.
For that.
The Alan Lazard one, I mean, I like Alan Lazard, but when you're healthy and active in your first year of a $44 million contract.
Yeah. You can't say you just brought those guys in because of the talent.
No.
You brought them in because Aaron Rodgers wanted you to bring him. And all those decisions that you let him. I think the Jets learned quickly that if you give him the wheel, he's going to take full control.
Any other team, really quick, if it wasn't Aaron's pick, Nathaniel Hackett, would Nathaniel Hackett have been let go by now?
Oh, I think so.
I think so, too.
I think he might still get let go before the season for the second straight year.
And then you're going to upset your quarterback.
Yeah. Who shouldn't probably –
That's his favorite coach of all time is Nathaniel Hackett, which isn't it, again, not to rehash everything, but like towards the end, you had the passive aggressiveness of Rodgers to McCarthy and, play calling and all that. And yet he's like all 100% on Hackett. Support. I believe in his office. I believe in it. It's like, dude, what's going on? Like, what does Hackett have over you?
What does he have over Hackett?
Or that too?
Probably more of what it is.
It's like, man, I don't. Yeah,
I don't know. We're gonna get some interesting tell-all book.
I hope so.
About the final decade, probably of Rodgers' career.
Yeah,
because it's been a doozy, and I don't know. Does he need to come back? It was funny because I'm a wrestling fan, and CM Punk, who's divisive as they come in the wrestling world, returns to the WWE. The next day, Aaron Rodgers returns to practice they are like almost if wrestling fans and football fans out there, the personalities very similar.
We got I think his name's John. If it's not John, I apologize, but we did have a texter on Friday for our cream of the crop segment. CM Punk was his cream of the crop coming back to WWE. So
they both have good scorched earth policies. That's what I'll say.
All right, dude. Appreciate it as always, buddy. It's great chatting with you, man.
Oh, it's been great to be back.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll have more. Keep your comments coming. They'll text us 715-830-1912. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
Join us and other Brewers fans for a fantastic spring training trip of a lifetime in beautiful Arizona. 6 nights, 3 Brewers games, 2 days of sightseeing, and much, much more. Plan your vacation now. Stay at the Crown Plaza Phoenix Chandler Golf Resort with Uber vouchers for rides between Phoenix airports and the resort. There's a welcome reception, daily breakfasts at the resort, 3 Brewers spring training games, professional guide with motor coach transportation to Sedona and Tucson, hosted by Arizona Baseball Tour staff. There's a souvenir t-shirt and 1 complimentary bucket of range balls per person at the resort golf course driving range. It will be an exciting, fun-filled excursion with memories for a lifetime for everyone. The Brewers Spring Training Trip to beautiful Arizona. Don't miss it. For more information, get to this station's website and begin your vacation today.
You want to feel important.
You want to be part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things.
You want to feel like you belong.
We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it.
We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers.
We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more.
When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it.
We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors.
From the lake shores of Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota,
the fertile fields of Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa, to the wide open plains of North and South Dakota.
We are here for our hometowns.
And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
This time of year, big box tool stores start to sell a whole bunch of not tools. From dancing Santas to plastic trees. At Northern Tool and Equipment, we'd rather sell you a 4-horsepower chainsaw fitted with a full chisel chain to cut down your own tree. And we have wood chippers come January. Because you know, mulch. We're cutting prices on your favorite brands this holiday season. Save on Milwaukee, Ingersoll Rand, and Metaltech in-store or at northerntool.com.
A staple of Eau Claire since 1949, Ray's Place on Water Street has been a local favorite for many in the Chippewa Valley for decades. From their homemade hot beef and ham sandwiches to their famous stew, Ray's Place is the go-to place for great food and a warm atmosphere that feels like you're right at home. And don't forget to try a little of their famous mustard on your sandwich as well. Plus, they have trivia every Wednesday night starting at 7 p.m. So experience one of the finer things Eau Claire has to offer. The next time you're hungry for a home-cooked meal, Ray's Place on Water Street is your ticket.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. The Army National Guard has taught me the value of showing respect to those I come in contact with each day. My service also allows me to be there for my community in ways others can't. I help my hometown recover after nature strikes. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country and those I care about safe from threats. I also work with a network of professionals that help me succeed and accomplish the mission. Plus, the Army National Guard education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
How do I describe excellence in 4 words? Carpet City Flooring Center. Here's why. So my wife and I wanted to update our flooring in the basement. The tile was coming up and it wasn't put in properly by the previous owners to begin with. And the carpet down there was old and worn out. We wanted our floors to have a cabin floor look. So we visited Carpet City Flooring Center and they helped us pick the perfect tile that would function the best in our space and give us that cabin look feel. Then they helped us match it up with the perfect looking carpet. Carpet City Flooring Center completely transformed our space. The tile looks amazing and and the carpet matches it perfectly. It's like a completely brand new room, and they paid attention to the smallest details, even adding new trim to places that didn't even have any trim to begin with. So if you're looking to transform your room with some new floors, seriously, Carpet City Flooring Center is the only place you need to visit. Check them out today and know that you are in good hands with all of your flooring projects with Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire.
Thanks for listening. And thanks for checking out our live stream on YouTube and Facebook. And thanks for not mentioning that spot on Dan's shirt.
Barbecue stain on my white t-shirt.
I guess that's why he never wears white.
You can't handle the truth.
The Dan Kasper Show.
All right, let's we didn't get to it a little bit earlier, but let's get to some studs and duds for this morning. We had a stud and dud from C-Bomb a little bit earlier. Stud Christian Watson, when he's healthy, he can ball. Dud, his body. That hamstring injury. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. I don't know if we'll find out more from Coach later today when he talks to the media or such, but yeah, that didn't look good right away. But maybe the positive in this whole thing is that he was in the blue medical tents and out really quick and walking around the sidelines and high-fiving his teammates and that. But the best outlook is hopefully it was just a cramp or something. But given his history with the hamstring injury, yeah, I think it's probably pretty safe to say that they're going to play it safe with him and maybe sit him out for a couple weeks and such. But we'll see. All right, my studs. So I already went through my dud a little bit earlier, but I'll bring it up again. My dud is Sunday Night Football last night. Was it a pass interference on Valentine? Yeah, it was. But just constant talk, and then the post game was all about that, where they brought in Terry McCauley to talk about it. And not only that play, but then trying to make the case that it was pass interference on the Hail Mary. They spent their post game talking about those two plays. And barely, they didn't even mention it in the post game, but barely even mentioning it during the game, the Jonathan Owens 15-yard penalty for hitting Patrick Mahomes that should not have been a penalty. Guy was in even, when they did go to Terry McCauley even did say, yeah, that should not have been a penalty. But they didn't bring that up. And then the MVS catch on the sideline where his forward progress was stopped. The clock should have still been running. But no, they deemed it that it was a stoppage of clock. Kurt Benkert, excuse me. I'm still fired up about this. He even tweeted about that specific play. And he said, and I don't want to hear anything about the no pass interference. That was a makeup call for the personal foul that saved them at least 30 seconds and gave them 15 yards. Not to mention the forward progress mishap, 45 seconds right there handed to the Chiefs. And earlier on, he said, forward progress stopped clear as day. The official doesn't know the rule clearly. No one would have ever made this call if they did. So for the first 58 minutes or so, didn't hear anything about the officials. But then in the last couple minutes, it overshadowed everything. But my dud is to the Sunday Night Football booth of Tirico and Collinsworth, or the producer, or whatever. That post-game segment where they focused just on those two. Should have been, would have been, what could have been. Pass interference plays. Make it even. Tell both sides of the story there. That's my dud. My studs, it was a good weekend for Wisconsin sports. Badger hoops, Badger volleyball, Sweet 16. They're moving on. Packers last night. Jackson Cheerio going to be signing up. Hawks, I know they get their in-season tournament play starting tomorrow, but they beat the Hawks on Saturday night, 132 to 121. Studs, good Wisconsin sports weekend. How about that? All right, we're going to take our final break here, and then coming up, our new daily segments brought to you by the Elbow Room. We're going to make some picks. We've got a Monday night game tonight. We'll do some other picks. We're going to do some not just game picks too, but kind of look at some of the lines, like is so-and-so going to get over 100 yards rushing in that? But we'll have a little fun with this. We'll do that, but we got to take our final break here before we get to that. So we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
Are you ready to discover a hidden treasure trove of home improvement wonders while giving back to your community? Look no further than the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore. At the Restore, you'll find an ever-changing selection of quality furniture, appliances, building materials, and so much more, all at unbeatable prices. But here's the best part. Every purchase you make at the Restore supports their mission to build affordable homes for families in need right here in the Chippewa Valley. It's shopping with a purpose, making your house a home while making dreams come true for others. So whether you're looking for a stylish new piece for your living room or tackling a DIY project, make the Restore your first stop. Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity Restore, where every item tells a story and every purchase builds a brighter future. So get shopping at the Restore, located at 145 North Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire. And for more information on the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity, simply visit their website at cvh4h.org. Looking for that perfect gift for that card collector in your life? Or are you looking for that awesome piece of sports memorabilia for your fan cave? There's no need to be cruising the online auctions because Ultimate Authentics in Eau Claire has got you covered. From a wide selection of sports and Pokemon cards to autographed jerseys and other sports memorabilia, Ultimate Authentics has something for every type of collector. They also offer custom framing, autograph authentication, free appraisals, and are a card grading drop-off point. Just give them a visit today at 1621 Westgate Road in Eau Claire.
Looking for a quick business holiday party? Reward your employees with a pizza party. Call Jim Bob's in Eau Claire or Chippewa Falls. Jim Bob's has large one-topping pizzas $12, or extra large one-topping pizza is only $15.99. Order Jim Bob's Pizza in Eau Claire or Chippewa Falls, or at jimbobspizza.net. Not sure what to order from Jim Bob's? That's simple. Check out jimbobspizza.net. Remember, one-topping pizzas are just $12, or an extra large one-topping pizza is $15.99. That's jimbobspizza.net.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals. It's a great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, December 8th, with Chippewa Valley YMCA's single and family memberships. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
Today's job market is full of demand for skilled trade workers. Electricians, welders, mechanics, these and other trades are the backbone of every community. They're also a huge part in making sure the Army National Guard is always fulfilling its mission of service to our communities. Soldiers train to keep the power flowing, engines running, and supplies moving. The skilled trades these soldiers perform are the same ones needed in today's civilian workforce. Army National Guard soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. With options from plumber to helicopter mechanic and everything in between, soldiers are able to select the trades that best fit their lives. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession and serve your community and country by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Join us and other Brewers fans for a fantastic spring training trip of a lifetime in beautiful Arizona. 6 nights, 3 Brewers games, 2 days of sightseeing, and much, much more. Plan your vacation now. Stay at the Crown Plaza Phoenix Chandler Golf Resort with Uber vouchers for rides between Phoenix airports and the resort. There's a welcome reception, daily breakfasts at the resort, 3 Brewers spring training games, professional guide with motor coach transportation to Sedona and Tucson, hosted by Arizona Baseball Tour staff. There's a souvenir t-shirt and 1 complimentary bucket of range balls per person at the resort golf course driving range. It will be an exciting, fun-filled excursion with memories for a lifetime for everyone. The Brewers Spring Training Trip to beautiful Arizona. Don't miss it. For more information, get to this station's website and begin your vacation today.
Tax refund advance loans at Jackson Hewitt starting December 11th. Early refund advance offered to eligible clients. Application required. Finance charge applies. Loans by Republic Bank. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the Lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time, as in spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Do you know of anyone who needs some help chasing their dreams and passions? Backyard Dreams wants to help. Email us at info@sportstalk1051.com so we can help.
One note, forgot to give a special stud shout out to the G-Man. Little call it victory breakfast this morning. Big thanks, VFW over there too. So appreciate it, G-Man. That made the morning. Not gonna lie, man. I owe you. I owe you big time, buddy. All right, let's get to it. Let's do some picks. Our picks and predicts brought to you by our good friends from the Elbow Room over there. Go visit the Elbow Room. It's an awesome sports bar. If you like some sweet swag like decor or memorabilia, go check out the Elbow Room if you haven't been there. I mean, some sweet pictures, autograph pictures, jerseys. It is a fantastic atmosphere. Plus, they've got man cave lights over there too. So go grab yourself a man cave light while you're watching the game tonight. Looking for somewhere to watch the game tonight? Head on over to our good friends at the Elbow Room. I mean, it's sports kind of a mecca inside there. Quick updates on the Pick'em Challenge leaderboard going on right now. If it's going to load for me, come on, load up on the leaderboard. We still, Garrett increasing his lead a little bit. He's up 130. Tim in second at 128. I finally had a good week. Moved up to third. I'm coming for you, Garrett. I'm coming for you. I'm tied with Pat, Peter, and Darren at 126. I'm just saying, Garrett, if you want to, forget to make some picks on a week or something like that for us to catch up, I'd appreciate that though too. So, but we'll see. Let's do some picks for tonight. So the spread now, it's about 9. I've seen 9, 9.5. I've even seen it up to 10 in favor of Jacksonville over Cincinnati. Let's use the 9. I think, I'm picking Jacksonville to win, and I think they cover. So I think they cover. I mean, you feel bad for the Bengals. No Joe Burrow this year, or I should say for the rest of the season here. That was one of my Super Bowl picks. They're not going to the postseason. I don't think it's in the cards for them. So I'm going Jacksonville tonight, and I do think they cover. We're going to use the 9, the spread at 9 here, and I think they cover. I do think they win by double digits. The total is at about 38. So I'm going to go I'm going to go over that. And it's mostly going to come from Jacksonville, I think. I think most of it's going to come from Jacksonville. I don't think the Bengals are going to put up a ton of points, but I don't know. I have this feeling that Jacksonville is going to put up a decent amount of points tonight. Trevor Lawrence right now, over or under 200 and is he going to be over 242 and a half yards passing? I'll go over, but slightly. I'm thinking like 260s into 270s. Browning, quarterback for the Bengals, 215 and a half. You're going to go over that? I think he's going to go under. I think Jacksonville's defense is going to make it tough on him tonight. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have more than 1.5. I know FanDuel's got him at over 1.5 touchdown passes. I think he gets over that tonight. I'm going to go with 3 touchdown passes for Trevor Lawrence tonight. Travis Etienne, how many rushing yards for him? They've got it at 65.5. I think he gets over that. Mixon, 46.5. I think Joe Mixon will get over that too. I think he'll slightly get over that. Leading receiver, Calvin Ridley right now, the leader for Jacksonville. Will he get over 55.5 tonight? I'll go with the over on that. I think he'll get over 55.5. Jamar Chase, obviously 54.5 for the Bengals. I also think he will get over on that. Touchdown scorers, Travis Etienne is your leader right now, according to Caesars. Then you got Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, then Joe Mixon. Yeah, I think Travis Etienne, I'd hit that one. I think he's going to be the guy, especially your touchdown leader for tonight. I think he's going to get a couple. I'm going to go with 2 on there. I'll go with 2 for Travis Etienne. Let's switch it over because I only got a few minutes left here. I want to switch it over to some hoops chat or some hoops picks here. So we got Boston at Indiana. Boston, the spread is at 6 right now. Boston wins. Boston covers. We've got, this is for tomorrow. Never mind. I'm going to save it for later. Never mind. Nope, not going to do that one. I'll save it for tomorrow there because, the Bucks. I'll save that Bucks one for tomorrow and such. So, strike what I just said. Okay. We've got, what do we got here though? Oh, no. We got, okay. That schedule's wrong. This one's right. So I had 2 different schedules up. They got the dates mixed up. We'll go back to it. Boston covers. My bad. I was looking, this one website's got the wrong dates on there. But Boston wins tonight. They cover by 6. They'll get more than 6. Then we've got the Pelicans and Sacramento. Sacramento by 3.5. Yeah, easy cover for Sacramento. Sacramento sitting at 11-7 this year. New Orleans at 11-10. And then tomorrow night we've got the 2 games with Milwaukee and New York, and then Phoenix and the Lakers. So we'll do those picks for tomorrow. We'll hit those picks up for tomorrow there. So, but with our pick segments, Fridays are pretty easy because we've got a lot of football games going on and such, but we're going to kind of start to incorporate. So today we did a little bit, with the over-unders on passing yards and touchdowns. We're going to start to incorporate that a little bit more with our new pick segment. It's going to be a daily thing now, right at the end of the program there. Plus with basketball, we're going to incorporate that a little bit more too. Obviously, when baseball gets going, we'll have more there too. And then, football too. But that's kind of the gist. We're going to have a little fun with that. And ideally, I'd like to kind of make it maybe kind of like our Pick'em challenge. Maybe we can do our own version. I'll have to see if we can get the computer people out there to make something for us. But kind of our own customized Pick'em thing where every day we've got our custom picks. You know what I mean? Like, I'll have to see if I could talk to some people out there to come up with that. And we'll just select new ones every day. Giannis, over under 35.5 points. Jordan Love, over under 265.5 passing yards. I'll see if I can find somebody that can create that for us. That'd be kind of fun. And make all of you, or I should say make all of you, but have all of you involved in our picks over there. Yeah. All right, let's wrap things up here. We only got a few minutes to the top here. A lot of talk about the Packers this morning, a lot of optimism. I said it a few times this morning, but this is probably one of the most optimistic, excited, pumped up mornings that we've had in a while regarding Green Bay. Definitely a lot of excitement after that Chicago game to open up the season, right? There was a lot of excitement surrounding there, but kind of quiet after that. So this is probably the first time since maybe September, early September, that we had a lot of excitement after a Packer game. And I think it's going to continue here for the next few weeks. I think it's going to continue. So, but we'll have more Packers talk throughout the week. Hopefully, maybe we'll find out something about Christian Watson's jersey or injury after Matt LaFleur talks to the media today. I doubt it, but we'll see. The Jair Alexander one, though, he practiced all week. It was in a limited fashion. Inactive again. Apparently, he told the media last week that he was going to talk to him on Friday. Then he didn't. He wasn't there. Maybe there's something there. Maybe there's not. But yeah, I don't know. Because remember a couple years ago, he had that shoulder injury that took him out for a big chunk of the season. It was against the Steelers, and he tried taking down Harris and screwed up his shoulder. Then he came back for the playoff game and only played a limited snaps. It was that 49ers playoff game. I don't know if it's the same shoulder or not, and if there's any lingering effects from that. But I'd be curious to know what's going on with Jair Alexander. In fact, we're actually going to be talking with Dr. Crow tomorrow for our Inside the Training Room. I won't be on Friday, so we're going to bump it up here a little bit and talk to Dr. Crow. I'll have to ask him about that, if he's got any thoughts on that situation. But I'd like to know what's going on with Jair right now. Obviously, we talked some hoops, Badger hoops, with a big win against Marquette on Saturday. Yeah, Michigan State coming up here, and then Arizona yet still this week. So tough schedule continues for the Badgers, but they got off to a fantastic start. It sounds like Jackson Cheerio, the deal will be inked. Nothing officially official yet, but if you go to Brewers.com, it's their top headline. Brewers top prospect Cheerio inks record-setting deal, according to a source. So that's on the team website there. I would imagine that the Brewers probably going to make that official maybe today. But club options for 2032 and 2033 at $25 million apiece. The escalators and incentives could push the total value north of $140 million over the full 10 seasons. Right now, though, it's about an 8-year, $82 million. Even if he hits all those incentives, like if he hits those and he's playing incredibly well and he's one of the best players in the league, a 10-year contract for $140, that's still a bargain. That is still a bargain. All right. Big thanks to everybody who texted in this morning. Appreciate it. Whether we agreed or disagreed, it doesn't matter. It's sports. We can have disagreements and still be friends, right? Right? I hope so. But appreciated everybody chiming in this morning. Have a good rest of your day. Let's do it again tomorrow morning, all right? Just past 6. We'll talk to you then.
You're listening to the Dan Patrick Show on WAYY Eau Claire.